spot the kind of player pool that coaches want. And I think more and more teams are likely to move towards that 21-22 players ke aspas. Venkatesh Iyer, I don't think has a place in RCB. And that's because thankfully जितनी भी आपकी टीम सेट होगी, अगर आपके पास अगर टॉप ऑर्डर में 6-7 बैट्समैन हैं आपके पास और आपको मालूम है यू कैन शफल देम अक्रॉस, हैव दोस काइंड ऑफ प्लेयर्स, यू हैव रजत पाटीदार देयर, यू हैव विराट कोहली देयर, आई थिंक दे आर मोर और लेस सेटल्ड. अच्छी चीज ये होती है ना मिनी पूल, द बेस्ट थिंग इज दैट यू डोंट हैव टू मेनी पीपल टू साइन to bring onto your squad, and I think in this case RCB is fairly well covered.
And taking from you, Nikhil, Venkatesh, his bid as it stands at 7 crores. Right. Rahul, where do you think he will land? Because, like Nikhil says, he's not a fit for RCB. The bid is moving very slow, like Rashesh mentioned. And considering his skill set, where do you think, and because he's also one of the most watched players this season, where do you think he'll finally end up?
बहुत मुश्किल है कहना, बिकॉज वहाँ पर इस समय जो देखा जा रहा है, यही दो टीम्स हैं जो सबसे ज्यादा इनके लिए बोली रही है, और फाइनली आरसीबी में वो शामिल हो गए हैं 7 crores में. He's a smart key player. I think RCB को हमेशा इनकी इस तरह के प्लेयर्स की जरूरत रहेगी. A good player who can bat, who can bowl, and I think a good buy for RCB. हालांकि उनका पर्स अब थोड़ा सा कम हो गया है.
That's what I was coming to. And
अब तो कितना 8 करोड़ रह गया उनके पास.
नहीं, अच्छी चीज ये है कि वहां पे
RCB's probable 11 at your screen, on your screens right now. But Nikhil, while we were talking, you were mentioning he's not a fit for RCB, and minutes later we see him being bought by RCB. What do you think changed? What must have gone?
No, not changed. I also think because of Rajat Patidar, because both of them played together in the MP squad. As we speak, they had a game this morning. There could be a slight influence, and he understands Venkatesh's capability really well. So sometimes you need a captain who says, look, I really back him up at around 7-8 crores. It is phenomenal value because you also get a medium fast bowling option along with his batting, and it's quite explosive on days that he gets going. There's barely anybody who can stop somebody like a Venkatesh Iyer going all along, and he could be a match winner, good fielder, energetic, great attitude. From that perspective, I think that might have been what might have played. And of course, if at 7-8 crores, if there could be a place for him in this squad, he's a championship winner 2 seasons back. So when you get a champion material like him, you take him at a good price, definitely.
Sure. Now, we've also not seen much action from Gujarat Titans, Rashesh, Rahul. क्या चल रहा होगा उनके दिमाग में? I mean, not much action from their side. What do you think they're holding up for?
इनके पास पर्स बहुत कम है. I think 12.9 crores, and और दूसरी बात है कि इनका स्लॉट भी बहुत कम है. They only have 5 players remaining. तो 12.9 में I think वो ज्यादातर मुझे लगता है एक प्लेयर होगा जो ऑलराउंडर की तरफ जाएंगे. ज्यादातर प्लेयर I think वो अनकैप्ड ही सोचेंगे, या फिर वो प्लेयर्स जो अनसोल्ड हैं अभी, जब वो रीअपेयर होते हैं, I think then they would bid for them. अभी तो क्विंटन डिकॉक के पास आ गई है बाजी. अब
बेस प्राइस 1 करोड़ का है इनका, क्विंटन डिकॉक, and he is a good batsman. He opens for South Africa. What do you think? Who do you think will opt for Quinton de Kock, or who at least will think he will be in their wish list? Nikhil, what do you think? किसकी wish list में Quinton de Kock हो सकते हैं?
नहीं, देखिए, जिस तरह के वो प्लेयर हैं, काफी सारी टीम्स जो हैं, स्पेशली जिनके पास अभी पर्स काफी बड़े हैं, तो they could possibly go for him, and he's definitely a player.
What a smart! I mean, we were not seeing any action from Mumbai Indians till now. Quinton de Kock sold for 1 crore to Mumbai Indians. This is a proper Gujarati dimag, Rahul. I mean, they chose not to open their cards. The moment Quinton de Kock comes, they buy them at the base price.
बिल्कुल, और उनका भी पर्स कुछ इतना खास है नहीं था, but
I think 2-2.5 करोड़ का उनका पर्स था सारा.
हाँ, but managing him, a player like Quinton de Kock in that purse,
बहुत मुश्किल था. I was thinking कि इनकी बिड बहुत हाई जाएगी.
Yes.
Considering जैसे इन्होंने बैटिंग अभी कर रहे हैं recent सीरीज में, इंडियन कंडीशंस में मुझे लग रहा था अच्छा खासा जाएगा. But 1 crore I think is a very good buy.
We were thinking that he will contribute more to BCCI or Cameroon Green. I mean, बातें यहाँ तक पहुँच गई थी. निखिल, आप थे नहीं उस टाइम, हम लोग उस बात पे बात कर रहे थे कि 18 करोड़ से कितना ऊपर जाएंगे लोग. And here we are here 1 crore. Rashesh, what do you think this happened?
No, I think it's absolutely, they've, terrific buy for Mumbai Indians. I thought he would go on for about 5 to 10 crore. I think there were some more bidders who would be interested in. But for Mumbai Indians, with the limited purse they have, and for them to grab Quinton de Kock at this price is unbelievable. Remember, their regular keeper Ryan Rickelton has been a little bit off form, so they would have wanted a backup keeper who can also bat, and then Quinton de Kock fits in perfectly. So terrific buy for them. They've already made one of the smartest buy of the auction. I think that's my kind of early call, and this and we will now see them having waiting for some sort of uncapped players who might go on to be big players. But yeah, quite surprised that some of the other teams did not see value in Quinton de Kock, which is interesting because teams like KKR do need a wicket keeper. So who do KKR have in mind as far as filling those wicket keeping slots is concerned? Is going to be something to watch out for.
Sure. Now, Johnny Bairstow, like he was one of the most sought after T20 batsmen a couple of years ago. He's gone unsold. What do you think did not work in his favor, Rahul?
मुझे दोनों का बहुत ऐसा हैरानी लग रही है। मुझे लग रहा था शायद एसआरएच उनके लिए जाएंगे। इनफैक्ट जेमी स्मिथ भी मुझे लग रहा था शायद केकेआर वुड बिड फॉर हिम। कीपर की जरूरत है तो शायद उनके लिए जाएं, बट बोथ द प्लेयर्स इंग्लैंड का मुझे एक जो वीक पॉइंट लगता है वो ये कि हमेशा ऐसा होता है कि मिड वे जब आईपीएल चल रहा होता है उसके बीच में ही मोस्ट ऑफ द प्लेयर्स दे आर कॉल्ड फॉर देयर नेशनल ड्यूटीज और उन्हें बीच में ही छोड़ के जाना पड़ता है। सो उस वजह से जो टीम होता है उसका बैलेंस बहुत खराब हो जाता है। दिस कुड बी वन ऑफ द रीजंस, मेरे को पक्का नहीं पता, दिस कुड बी वन ऑफ द रीजंस कि ज्यादातर इंग्लिश प्लेयर्स के लिए
ऐसा हर साल हुआ है क्या? मतलब डू वी हैव दैट ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड?
ऐसा होता है मोस्ट ऑफ टाइम्स।
Okay. Nikhil, do you agree with Rahul? I mean,
no, 100%. मैंने शायद पहले भी कहा था कि that's one of the reasons कि इंग्लैंड के जो प्लेयर्स हैं वो नहीं खेलते हैं, and usually इंग्लैंड जो है वो for whatever reasons they don't consider, they always, most boards बोलते हैं कि जब IPL चल रहा है we don't want to play, but England doesn't have that policy. They're open to having games. And IPL squads में काफी सारे इंग्लिश प्लेयर्स होते हैं जिनको हाफ वे थ्रू निकल के जाना पड़ता है, and then replacements are sought for them. पहले because they were so good that options were sought, but आज की डेट में IPL teams बोलती है midway through the tournament it's very tough to start adjusting. So I think that's a very plausible reason कि English players को नहीं sign किया जा रहा.
No, as we speak, Finn Allen has been bought by KKR for 2 crores. Was it expected, Rahul?
बिल्कुल, मुझे लग रहा है कि इट्स अ गुड बाय। बेस प्राइस पे उन्होंने ले लिया गया। और अभी भी केकेआर इज लाइक सी, अगर उसमें से हम 1-2 मटके निकाल भी लें पानी कम नहीं होगा। सो 2 करोड़ और निकल गए हैं, फिर भी उनके पास बहुत बड़ा पर्स है। अभी भी पर्स जो है सारी टीमों से सबसे ज्यादा ही है आई थिंक। तो
इनफैक्ट
सीएसके का है,
उन टीम से भी ज्यादा है जिन्होंने भी खोलने अपने पत्ते शुरू भी नहीं किए हैं। I mean, Sunrisers Hyderabad, I'm still waiting for some big buy from Hyderabad. Rashesh, where do you think they'll open their purse? What is going on?
I think they'll wait for the spinner slot. But I think just coming back to that Quinton de Kock, Finn Allen discussion, this is how auction works right now. We clearly know. I just mentioned. I wonder who KKR have in their mind as far as the wicketkeeper is concerned, and they've gone for Finn Allen. So once the analyst has decided that Finn Allen is our guy, they would not care if Quinton de Kock goes for a cheaper price to some other franchise, because as far as their thinking is concerned, they will go for the players that they want to chase. So this is how another franchise can sometimes benefit. Sometimes what happens is 2-3 teams think alike, and that is when these sort of bidding wars is what we see. So this is how sometimes things pan out in the auction. So KKR have got Finn Allen, they've got another keeper option, Angakrish Raghuvanshi, who's a part-time keeper as well. So maybe these are the two kind of players who they want to sort of, they see playing a lot more in their playing 12 in the coming season. So they went for these players. But so far as some of the other teams like SRH is concerned, they will wait for their own strategists, their own analysts to give their suggestions. Then maybe they are waiting for some other slot, just as to sort of fill in those slots as well.
But let's also talk a little about Kings 11 Punjab. 11.5 crore का पर्स है, Nikhil, and the second lowest out of any team, in a stark contrast to the approach in the previous auctions gone by. Why do you think, मतलब आपके हिसाब से Kings 11 Punjab की क्या strategy हो सकती है अभी? Because they also have not been like in any form of action so far.
जब आपका one of the best results आए IPL में इतने सालों के अंदर, तो आपको जरूरत नहीं है काफी कुछ चेंज करने के लिए. You want to go ahead with the same strategy. स्पोर्ट के साथ एक चीज तो कॉमन है कि अगर आप अच्छा करें या आपको लगे कि हम अच्छा कर रहे हैं, सी समटाइम्स यू डोंट विन, यू डोंट गो टू द टॉप 4 बट यूर इन टॉप 5 टॉप 6, you've played well by and large. The good thing to do then is not to make too many changes. Try and keep the squad as much together, because जब अगले साल वो आएंगे तो in terms of they understand what the ethos of the coach is, the captain is, the ownership is, how do things work. And I think Kings 11 के साथ ये हुआ है. दूसरी चीज जो मुझे लगता है, अभी भी अनकैप्ड प्लेयर्स का जो पूल है, that'll be very very exciting. मैं बहुत excited हूँ उसके बारे में, primarily because अगर आप स्मार्ट फॉलो करें, you will see such brilliant players coming through, and that's one of the reasons that जो कैप प्लेयर्स हैं वो अनसोल्ड जा रहे हैं. अगर आप सरफराज खान की बात करें, पृथ्वी शॉ की बात करें, हमने काफी बात की इसके बारे में. आई वाज अराउंड. आई फील देयर आर लॉट ऑफ यंगर boys coming through in SMAT, and you will see teams really going for them, right? जैसे कि राहुल भी बोल रहे थे कि एक बारी आपने अपना मन बना लिया कि मैं इस विकेट कीपर के पीछे जाऊंगा या विकेट कीपर बैट्समैन के पीछे जाऊंगा, उनके पास 3 4 5 6 ऑप्शंस होती हैं. और अगर उसके टॉप पे अगर फिन एलन है तो फिर दे विल गो हैमर एंड टोंग इफ दे हैव दैट मनी फॉर फिन एलन. बट उनके पास सेकंड ऑप्शन होगी, तीसरी ऑप्शन होगी, चौथी ऑप्शन होगी. क्विंटन डिकॉक हो सकता है उनकी पांचवी छठी ऑप्शन हो. सो एनालिस्ट उस हिसाब से काम करते हैं. And I think there are some really exciting players coming in the uncapped. There's a boy called Salil Arora who I think, उसने आज भी शायद 50 रन मारे हैं पंजाब के लिए.
आज सुबह शायद 19 एक्स्ट्रा प्लेयर्स ऐड हुए हैं बीसीसीआई की तरफ से फॉर द ऑक्शन. That took the tally from 350 to 369.
Right.
Do you think there will be more buys in that category?
Because everybody is falling. और आप मान के चलिए कि most IPL franchisees invite these boys, these uncapped boys, over to their camps to say कि हम आपको देखना चाहते हैं, हम आपको सिनेरियोज देंगे, आपको 19 रन मारने हैं 6 बॉल पे, आपके लिए लेफ्ट आर्मर है, राइट आर्मर है, फास्ट बॉलर है, ये कोटला की पिच है. So they've already done a lot of homework with these boys, right? That's how boys like Raghuvanshi come into the mix as well. My guess is if they're going so easy in this pool, then it'll hot up because they've already identified किन players को हमने लेना है. आप अनिकेत वर्मा की बात करें, लास्ट ईयर एसआरएच के लिए खेले थे. तो वो कहाँ से आए थे? वो एमपी के लिए नहीं खेले थे, वो एमपी अंडर 23 भी नहीं खेले थे. Where he played was the MPL, and वहां पर he was the highest run getter. बहुत फास्ट खेले थे, and suddenly he came in and started playing for SRH. So scouts all over हैं. आप आज की डेट में इतने T20 लीग्स चल रहे हैं, हर जगह पर एक आईपीएल टीम का स्काउट बैठता है. And they're very very good analysts, scouts, people who are trying to get. So sometimes you get very strangely befuddled कि ये players ला कहाँ से रहे हैं. But cricket पे आज की डेट में आंखें सबकी हैं. Everybody is tracking these players really really closely, and I think ये जो uncapped players का pool है, will be very interesting.
Sure. Now I think अभी auction पे थोड़ा सा break है. Till that time, let's talk about the spirit of Indian cricket. I want to understand from all three of you. ये जो नया एक जो रूल है जिसपे बहुत डिबेट भी चल रहा है ऑनलाइन. आई थिंक अ लॉट ऑफ ऑडियंसेस, इंटरनेशनल आईपीएल फैंस आर डिबेटिंग कि ये जो कैप है, द रिटेंशन कैप, लाइक हाईएस्ट बिड इज 18 crores. Okay. Do you think it is doing justice to the spirit of cricket and especially to the Indian cricket? Because Rahul, you were right. It was meant to promote Indian talent. So, do you think this rule of 18 crore cap, or maybe when it comes to mega auction, the highest amount पे जो Indian players sold होता है, is it doing justice to the spirit of cricket and after that to the spirit of Indian cricket?
मुझे लगता है बिल्कुल, क्योंकि इंडियन प्रीमियर लीग इसमें सबसे पहले इंडिया ही आता है. एंड जब हम बात करें जो 10 टीम्स हैं, सबके नाम में उनकी स्टेट्स पहले लगी हुई हैं. सो आई थिंक इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि हम हमारे प्लेयर्स जिनको हम स्काउट कर रहे हैं, जिनका हम ऑब्जर्व कर रहे हैं पूरे साल. इनफैक्ट आई वाज अ पार्ट ऑफ द दिल्ली कैपिटल्स टीम जो स्काउट कर रहे हैं अभी भी. रिसेंटली आप व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग हियर, यहाँ पर ऑलरेडी दिल्ली में मैचेस हो रहे हैं, बच्चों के, स्कूल के बच्चों के मैचेस हो रहे हैं, और वहां पर दिल्ली कैपिटल्स के स्काउट्स बैठे हुए हैं. वो वहां पर देख के ऑब्जर्व कर रहे हैं कि इन बच्चों में से कौन है जो इस वक्त एज इट इज हम दिल्ली कैपिटल्स में लेके आ सकते हैं. जब पूरे साल इतनी स्काउटिंग हो रही है, इतनी मेंटरिंग हो रही है, इतना ज्यादा पैसा, इतना ज्यादा एफर्ट्स खर्च किए जा रहे हैं, तो मुझे लगता है कि अगर कोई महंगा प्लेयर जा रहा है तो वो इंडिया की तरफ से जाना चाहिए. और अगर नहीं, अगर कोई फॉरेन प्लेयर है तो आई थिंक कैपिंग होनी, दैट वाज अ ग्रेट मूव. 18 या 15 होना चाहिए था, और जो बाकी है वो जाना चाहिए उन प्लेयर्स के लिए जिनके पास रिसोर्सेज नहीं है, जो मे बी दे डोंट बिलोंग टू वेल ऑफ फैमिलीज. तो उन्हें क्रिकेट खेलना है, उनका पैशन है, बट उनके पास रिसोर्सेज नहीं है. सो दिस मनी शुड गो टू दोज प्लेयर्स जो बहुत पैशनेट है टुवर्ड्स प्लेइंग क्रिकेट, बट दे डोंट हैव मनी, दे डोंट हैव टाइम, बट उन्हें करना है. So I think that's very important.
Sure, but Rashesh, I'll take the devil's advocate side. I mean, thinking from an economic point of view, if the market rate demands for a player are X, Y, Z, then why should they be confined? I mean, I understand emotions on one side, development of Indian cricket on one side, but this is market economics. Don't you think it's a slight injustice to that market economics? I mean, this is just a point of view. I'm playing a devil's advocate here.
Oh, sure. No, I get it, but I think that's precisely the reason why they had to introduce this rule, because some of the overseas players were sort of playing around with market economics. What they used to do is, like, it's a point that I made earlier, is that they would not put their name up for a mega auction, because in a mega auction, all the teams have got more money, so you'll end up going for a lesser price. They used to wait for the mini auction where there are fewer quality players, and then that is how they used to go for a higher price than normal. Now, if you put, for example, Virat Kohli or Jasprit Bumrah in the auction, imagine the kind of price they would go for if there was no cap. But they cannot, because a lot of the teams have this retention rule where MI have got Jasprit Bumrah, they would not want to release him. So they would negotiate a fee amongst themselves, and then Bumrah would be capped at, say, 18 crore, which is the cap right now. So it's unfair for a Bumrah that someone like a Green can go home with 25 crore while he does not get a chance to come in the auction because he's a player who's retained by his franchise. To settle that, this is why they introduced this rule for overseas players where they do not get a sum lesser than more than what a Bumrah or a Virat Kohli may be having. Now, Bumrah and Virat Kohli are taking home 18 crore, so Green will also take home 18 crore, and the 7 crore goes to BCCI, which is used for player welfare, which is a separate matter. So I think they're not playing around with market economics. They're trying to sort of keep that balance of market economics intact, which is why this rule had to be played. A lot of the franchises had complained to the BCCI that the overseas players and their managers were sort of playing around this rule, which is why it was necessary. And eventually, it was introduced last time around. Once they saw someone like Pat Cummins and they saw Mitchell Stark going for that big prize, which came in as quite a big surprise.
Sure. So, Nikhil, like Rahul and Rashesh mentioned, this move was more to prevent cartelization of the prices. If I understand it correctly, do you believe subscribe to that theory?
Well, if you really ask me, I think both sides of it sound fairly all right. The whole system of how the IPL is structured, there's so many intricacies to the whole thing in terms of how revenue is shared, how players get their salaries or money. I think by and large, what Rishesh was saying was makes so much sense in terms of if players were really doing that cartelization. See, if you ask me as a purist, I would always say if I was a player, an international player, I want to play in the biggest league, and I want to play in it each year, every year, continuously. Right now, whether if I'm a Joss Butler, I want to come every year and get my 15 crores, 16 crores, 20 crores, whatever he gets. Right? If he's strategizing to say this year I could get like a 20, but I'd stay out of it. Maybe a year or two. I don't think it makes sense. So if there's enough information to say that this was what foreign players were doing, international players were doing, fair enough. But at the end of the day, the market should ideally be open. If there is somebody who commands that kind of money, technically, Cameron Green has been paid 25 crores, right? Ideally, he should be getting that money. But if there's a rule and Cameron Green is aware of it, that if I go over 18, he's already signed on that contract. So he understands he can't be getting more than 18 crores because that's where it's capped at. So the rest of the money has to go to developmental talent. Fair enough. Having said that, I don't think IPL, in the way that it's formed, there are enough and many players who see that and want to get there. The purpose of these teams is to win the IPL. It's not to create a pipeline for the future, which I think Indian cricket in itself will always do, because that's the top of the pyramid, which is the IPL. There are millions and millions of players who want to get there. Sorry.
And while we speak, this is one of the hashtags right now flooding on social media. I mean, when you bid to increase the price of the play, I mean, this is one hashtag which is right now circulating on social media, and that's where I picked the cue from. Now, let's come to individual teams, and Rashesh, I'll start with you. Where do you think, let's start from the teams which haven't won any title yet, and I'll start with Delhi, of course. What do you think will be going on in their mind this year, and what would they like to change? And where would they like to start from this auction?
Yeah, I think Delhi is not that badly placed at the moment. They have got a lot of. In fact, if there was no option today and they were forced to pick a playing 12, they have a reasonable team to go with. They would need some reinforcements, of course, but it's not a bad team. They made some smart choices. If anything, their bowling is a little suspect with
I mean,
people
so
like
is Kings
Natarajan,
11
who was.
Punjab. They haven't won any tournament, but they were the runners-up last year. So,
Yeah, yeah,
of
no,
course, the
no. So
teams
it's
are not
about.
bad, but where
No,
their
I can understand you
minds.
are sitting in Delhi, so you want Delhi Capitals to win. Everyone have been waiting for that. Now they are getting lonely at the top, at the bottom now. Every other team has started to win. Even Punjab Kings have come close, and RCB have won a title. So yeah, it's about time Delhi Capitals
I
pulls up
think
their
I
socks.
think
And I
IPL
think
is the only tournament where it gets lonely at the bottom. Yeah, please continue.
no, but I think I hope they know who their captain is. Akshar Patel led last time. I hope they are sure that he's continuing to be their captain because there were some conversations, some people who are not completely sure if Akshar is the right choice in terms of his tactical acumen, etc. The other option is KL Rahul, but not sure if KL Rahul wants to lead anymore after his experience at Lucknow Super Giants. And I don't think there is any captaincy candidate available in this option amongst the pool available. So it's all likely that Akshar will continue to be the captain. But I think Delhi Capitals do need some overseas players. I think they've got a lot of overseas slots booked from what I last checked. So this is something that they would need to fill in as well. In fact, it's interesting that Delhi Capital did not utilize the full quota of four overseas players in a lot of the games last season. So they went with a
Right.
lot of India-based playing 12. So they might want to correct that because if got quality away players available from the overseas camp, why not use them? So I think they've
Hmm.
got some money left, about 20 odd crore. They might use that to pick some quality overseas picks. And we'll wait and see which are the particular slots they want. KL Rahul at the top, so they might want someone in the middle order. They might want some quality fast bowler from the overseas category as well.
And of course, now, Nikhil, I'll come to you. I mean, the other team which has been in the news, and along with them has been the team management. It's Lucknow Super Giants. We have seen how the team owner over the last 2 years has we have witnessed how the team owner was very vocally unhappy in public light. We have seen that in the last 2 years. What do you think, and will be the strategy for Lucknow Super Giants this year? Because it is very evident from their body language that they want to win at any cost.
No, if you look at Mr. Goenka overall, he also owns Mohan Bagan Supergiant, and in the ISL, and by and large, it's the highest spending club in India. They want to win at every cost, at any
Yeah.
cost rather. So he has that aggressive streak about him. It might not be for everybody. People look at it and say, "Oh, we are playing the gentleman's sport. He shouldn't be this way. He shouldn't be that way." I don't want to get into it, but I think that franchisee wants to win at all costs, right? What it takes is and especially when Gautam Gambhir was with them, they got fairly close to that title as well. So it's not that they've been laggards in certain sense of way as well. So they were fairly close at that point in time. But this is the nature of the IPL, that almost every year you will have like a new squad. There might be so many factors that come into play. Sometimes the coach might not, by the time they get the hang of how the squad is, half a season is over. So you've really got to hit the ground running, and you don't require a huge number of wins to be close to qualifying as well. It's not that, if you're playing an X number of games, you have to win 80% of the games. Anywhere close to 50, 55, 60% of games, if you get a win, you're likely to get into the playoffs. So from that perspective, I think LSG are very aggressive. If there is a player that would make sense to them, I don't think Mr. Goenka is the kind of person who would shy away from going for that player and getting him into the mix of things. It's always better to have a settled squad. So I think most of the teams have that. If today you had to have most of the teams, barring maybe a KKR or a CSK, to go in and have their 11, 12 players who they choose to play, I think they would have it. LSG would have it as well. Now, how on paper, sometimes teams don't look good. I remember last year talking about RCB and saying, oh, maybe there are players short here, maybe there are players short there. Didn't quite happen. Somebody like Krunal Pandya came in and shocked everybody, right? And by the end of it, you thought, how valuable is a player if he could do that, right? The way he bowled, he was bowling bouncers as a spinner, right? So you never know what comes out of the bag sometimes in cricket, in sport. So not everything can be done on paper. So I think teams have their thinking hats on. By and large, most of them get it more right than wrong. So let's see what happens. I think they should be in the mix of things. Most of them, Delhi Capitals, I wish them the best. If Kings 11 have turned the page, hopefully Delhi Capitals can too soon.
Sure. Now, unpredictability is the name of game, of course, when it comes to IPL. Now, but what is the name of the game when it comes to Pakistan Premier League? And that is my next question. I'll ask that to you, Ashish. Faf du Plessis and Glenn Maxwell have already migrated to Pakistan Premier League. For players like these, who are high-profile players who have been at their peak form for many years, what is the strategy which is going on in their mind while they move to Pakistan Premier League?
Well, anybody who leaves the IPL and goes to PSL knows they're going to get unsold in the next time they put the ring in the auction. IPL is by far the most competitive league there is in the sport. And so I think some of these players, obviously, like getting over the hill, they foresee that. They know of the gap in competition between a lot of the other foreign leagues and IPL. And I think that is one of the reasons they are going to PSL. They're not choosing the Pakistan Super League over Indian Premier League. It's just a realization of where they stand and which point in their career, and they know they might be able to contribute more for a franchise in the PSL, which is obviously a layer below. Remember, these two leagues are clashing, right? So the best players in the world are going to be playing in March, April, and May in India. The rest of the players who are not the best T20 players around, they will be playing in PSL. So I think it's just a gap of competition, and some of these players making those choices.
Nick, what do you think, Nikhil?
No, it's he's hit the nail on the head as well. The best T20 league in the world is the IPL, right? The only one possibly even who can think of competing with the IPL is the Big Bash. The PSL, for all it's worth, is nowhere close. And I think as players, you understand that, look, my time here is over. It's not something that I can compete in. It's not something that I will get picked on. So I've got to choose sides. You might as well choose a side which can further your playing career. You can earn a little bit of money. If you're going to go to the IPL, it is brutal. You see some of these players not being picked by squads. If Faf was to come back, I don't think he's going to be picked anymore. So he's kind of realized, I don't want the rigmarole, this kind of intense pressure and being under the microscope. It might be better off at the PSL, and they might be offering him something lucrative as 1-2 players.
Sure.
But if you're the best of the best, you've got to come to the IPL, which I don't think at this point in time those players are. Just agreeing with what Rishi's had to say.
Sure. Now, going forward, there is, of course, a set of key players who are due to come for auction. Ashish, where do you think this auction is headed to, and where will we see maximum action? And which are the players where you will find a lot of contestants vouching for them going forward from here?
तो पार्टी शुरू हुई है. There is a lot of action to come. I think that the big buys is probably still there. I think he will come in the overseas fast bowlers category because remember, there are not too many quality Indian pacers who the teams can bank on. Yes, there are some smart uncapped players that teams may want to pick. Someone like an Ashok Sharma, who's this big strapping fast bowler from Rajasthan. But again, he's an unproven player, so you wouldn't want to go overboard with him because he would take time to develop. Someone like an Akib Nabi from J&K might he may have some bidders and teams may be chasing him. But there are some other overseas fast bowlers who are more proven performers. Someone like Matt Henry, for example, from New Zealand, Duffy from New Zealand. There are a few other options as well. So those are the kind of fast bowlers that the team will go for. I think that is that one category, the overseas fast bowlers category, that we should keep an eye on because that is where we might see some big buys other than the big prediction that we made about Ravi Bishnoi going on for a huge sum.
Overseas fast bowlers, that is the group you are looking at. Nikhil, what about you?
No, as I said earlier, I'm
looking. सबसे ज़्यादा action हो सकता है अभी आने वाले समय में.
नहीं, सही कह रहे हैं. With overseas fast bowlers, अगर आप मुझसे पूछे तो मैं तो uncapped players का जो category आएगा उसमें देख रहा हूँ because I think exciting talent वहीं से आता है. जब आप IPL देखते हैं and you see some players breaking through and you think यार ये कहाँ से है, then you look through their credentials and you realize कि SMAT के अंदर usually they've really done well for a couple of seasons and these are अच्छी चीज क्या है आईपीएल के लिए कि आज की डेट के अंदर
as we speak, I'm so sorry to interrupt in between, Nikhil. Matt Henry has been unsold. I mean, the bidding started again, and Matt Henry went unsold. I mean, again, this is the surprise don't seem to end. Why do you think that happened? I mean, any comment on that?
नहीं, I think जैसे ऋषिश बोल रहे थे कि मे बी दे वांट टू चेक, अगर किसी के पास प्लेयर्स कम है, एंड अगर हम दोनों की बात सही है, क्योंकि आईपीएल के अंदर कभी भी कुछ भी हो सकता है ऑप्शंस के अंदर, तो अगर आप फास्ट बॉलर्स और अनकैप प्लेयर्स पे एक बार ही आपका जब पूल खत्म हो जाएगा, देन यूड वांट टू चेक कि कौन बचा हुआ है, किसको हम वापस ला सकते हैं, क्या हमारा इंटरेस्ट है, क्योंकि यूजुअली एट द एंड ऑफ द डे दे विल ऑलवेज आस्क यू कि आप who are the people, and then they'll always have a list that can be brought in. That's the only plausible reason, because पैसे काफी हैं सबके पास. Also, I don't think हर टीम 25 प्लेयर्स लेने वाली है. I think they will.
Akashdeep also went unsold while we were speaking. So Matt Henry, Akashdeep both went unsold as the bidding starts again. I think the next Jacob Duffy is on the auction list. क्या लगता है आपको इनका क्या फ्यूचर रहेगा रशिश इस आईपीएल के दौरान?
मैं नहीं जानता कि कौन से एनालिस्ट ने क्या अपनी टीमों को कहा है, but I think from the pool of players available, he's not a bad choice in terms of what he can offer. He can sort of hit the deck, and he's a sort of useful option. So I think that's the other thing we have to realize about these players as well. When you pick, there can only 4 overseas player can play in the playing 12, right? So they have to be that good. So if you look at the 10 teams, only the 40 best overseas players in the world are going to be competing. So if the teams think that you're just picking up someone to warm the benches, you might as well not chase them and then pick up another
He was bought by RCB for the base price of 2 crores, Jacob Duffy, while we were speaking. So RCB abhi like we discussed, they are not going to make a lot of changes, but they're going to make very selective buys, and Jacob Duffy seems to be the right fit. Rashesh,
no, I think it's a good choice. It's a good choice because someone like Josh Hazelwood, who's a bankable fast bowler, but he's slightly injury prone at the moment. He's not being able to play the Ashes. So they would have wanted some cover for him. Bhuvneshwar Kumar is a very smart T20 operator, but again slightly getting over the hill. So you never know if he'll be able to pull through the whole season. Then there's Yash Dayal. There's a question mark over his availability. So they've got some quality players, but some of their bowlers, you're not sure if they'll be fully available, fully fit. And so they might want some backup, and that is why I think Duffy is not a bad choice. Nobody stretched them, so 2 crore is a very good price to get Duffy at.
Now, next high-profile player, of course, is Coetzee. He is at a base price of 2 crores, and he is up for auction. And do you think Sunrisers Hyderabad would pitch for him, Nikhil?
They could.
Because
they possibly could. I think, such has been the day that you can never be sure of what is going to happen. I do think the player would get picked, but should Sunrisers be interested? Yes, definitely they should be. As should be a couple of
He wasn't picked by anyone. Unsold. He was unsold.
Such is the day, maybe today.
And the developments are happening so fast. I mean, we expect that the player will be bought at a high price or maybe a nominal price, but a lot of surprises this IPL as of now.
देखिए 350 360 players हैं. 77 is the higher cap of numbers players that are going to be picked. The lower, according to me, should be about 65, 62 players, 67 players. Not, there'll be not the whole full quota possibly will be bought.
इससे ज्यादा नहीं बिकेंगे आपको लगता है 60-62?
हाँ, मुझे लगता है उससे ज्यादा नहीं बिकेंगे. तो उस हिसाब से अगर 370 players हैं, तो they will be going through them fairly fast that way. And players को टीम्स को बाय एंड लार्ज एक आइडिया होता है. आपका एक फर्स्ट ऑप्शन, सेकंड ऑप्शन, थर्ड ऑप्शन हो सकता है, पर अगर उसके बाद है तो कोई टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करता उस हिसाब से. दे आल्सो वांट टू गेट इन ओवर एंड डन विद फेयरली क्विकली.
आई थिंक Pathirana is flying high right now. His base price was 2 crores and he's already sitting at 4.6 crores. And like we had discussed, Rashesh, surprises coming from all sides. I think Pathirana was also amongst very talked about players this season.
Yeah, he was. I think it was a very difficult call that CSK had to make whether to release him because he was, to begin with, he did very well for them. It's only in the last season that they realized that his form was tapering off a bit. There are also some concerns about some remodeled action that he had while he was with the Sri Lankan team. So they were not completely sure if he would be able to deliver for them. Also, his price was about 10 crores. They probably wanted to release that first. So they made that difficult call of releasing Pathirana. But clearly, some of the other franchises have been watching him perform in other leagues. ILT20, I believe, he's been doing well. So clearly, at the moment, we see a bidding war between Delhi Capitals and Lucknow Super Giants. So some of these teams, some of the way how the backroom channel works, some of these coaches, bowling coaches, is who the owners and the analysts speak with, whether they are confident they'll be able to get the best out of a particular player. And maybe those coaches would have given good remarks about him, which is why we are seeing a bidding war. But it's now 8 crore now as we speak. And who knows? He
It's
might
already
just get
crossed. It's
past 10
almost touching
CR.
9 crores.
Yeah, he may get past 10 CR, which is what CSK were, I think, paying him last time around. So good for him, good for the bowler. And again, strategy for CSK, they didn't want him. Somebody else thinks he's a smart enough buy for them, and that is why they're chasing him.
9.2 as we speak. Nikhil, will Delhi repeat the history? What do you think?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Will Delhi repeat the history with the Pathirana?
Look, at this point in time, while things are happening, I can't be commenting on anything. You never know, anything that in terms of predictions,
और
it could go either way.
ऐसा हो रहा है कि by the time हम conclusion
कुछ
पे
बोलते
आते
हैं
हैं, point एकदम
और
उल्टा
उसका
पड़
उल्टा ही
जाता है.
होता है बिल्कुल जी. और स्पेशली मेरी तो जो 2-3 predictions है अभी तक तो वैसी ही चली हैं. I think the player's really good. I think I was also trying to understand if 10 crores was possibly a little bit too much for a young player like that. He's done well a couple of seasons, but is 10 crores the value? Clearly, the Chennai outfit doesn't think so. Also, they've not done well. Usually, at the back end of a season that you've not done well, hard calls are taken. When you've done well, and if somebody's not done well individually, usually hard calls नहीं ली जाती हैं. But अगर उसने शायद अच्छा भी किया होता और आपकी टीम ने अच्छा नहीं किया, usually it gives confidence for the management to say maybe इसको जाने दो. तो अब देखते हैं
that
what's
does
going to
play.
happen.
And by the time we are speaking, his valuation has already reached 12.2 crores. I mean,
चलिए.
he might just end up at a very high price. And this is again coming as a surprise. Rashesh, were you expecting the bid to cross 12 crores for Pathirana?
It's a classic case of some teams nailing down on a particular player and then going all out for it. So these are very unemotional calls that the franchisees make, right? They are not thinking whether the player deserves this price or not. What they need to be clear about whether they need to chase a particular player to fill in the vacant slot that they have. So once they are convinced about that, they go ahead and engage in bidding wars. So if this goes up beyond 18 crore, good for the player, but this is not something that they would be overly concerned about. This is precisely what happened with Venkatesh Iyer and Kolkata Knight Riders, right? They did not pick Shreyas Iyer. They were running out of options on somebody who could replace him, and so they went chasing Venkatesh Iyer. As it turned out, Venkatesh found the price tag pressure too much. It got too hot to handle for him. It may well be the case with Pathirana as well. You never know. But at this point in time, franchises are fully focused on how to put together the best squad possible and the best playing 12 possible. And it seems clearly at the moment DC and LSG have got Padirana on their mind. So this has turned out to be, sort of good omen for Padirana. CSK let him go, and now he is
But surprising number as we speak, it's right there
is
on my screen, Rashesh. 15.4 crore is the current price for Pathirana, and Delhi has 17.8 crores in their purse. So is this like is this more of a negotiation strategy? They'll let the price go up, or are they actually serious about buying him?
No, they would be serious. You see, there is a price till where we can go, right? And if you have a play there wherein say हम uncapped players ले सकते हैं, we can take some of the other players which would not be going in a range of in the crores. And with him, will there be value of bringing him straight into the playing 11 or a consideration set of 12, 13 players? Then definitely, they would go for it. They're not at that level wherein they want to escalate prices for the sake of it, right? It's not a game that teams can play. It can happen for a smaller amount for some players, but not that level. You must, they have to be really serious. And I think uske paas capabilities hai to be playing in that squad.
I think 16.8 is the cost now.
So they'll tap out now.
Delhi is already out. Delhi is out because they can't bid beyond this. 17 crore. The bid is already touched 17 crores for Pathirana. I mean, I think KKR and LSG are right now in the fray. They're fighting with each other. Kolkata has 37 crores of purse remaining. Lucknow Super Giants has around 21 crores. It's moving. If the price escalates, then I think KKR will have the advantage of the deep pocket.
Yes,
don't you think,
yes.
Rashesh?
Yes, they will.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know how serious KKR, whether they really want or they are stretching LSG. But well, it seems LH is clearly run out of cash. I think they obviously need to pick the rest of the squad as well. So it seems KKR might just be able to get the services of Matisa Patirana if the auction bidding stops at this point in time. 18 crore, exactly the
And
price, which was the retention price.
he sold at 18 crores. I mean, very good for Pathirana. But, KKR eventually buys him for 18 crore rupees. Price justified, Nikhil, do you think? Question mark?
Maybe his Yorkers, and they believe that there's something that he offers, maybe at the death. Something that stuck with the KKR management, with their coach, maybe with with Mr. Nair, that this is the boy that I can put there. Because with 18 crores, you're not looking at a squad player. You're looking at a short player, at least for the first 5, 6, 7 games, whatever is it that he gets. And if the team does well, I do think there's something that they've seen in him in terms of firepower. And most likely in T20, it's usually if you're fast, if your action kind of gets people troubled, his action does get. And if you have the capabilities of delivering Yorkers at will, which I think the boy has, he has fair bit of skill.
But if you see the money, the way KKR is deployed, at least till now, 25 crores plus for Cameron Green and 18 crores for Pathirana. Do you think going forward there will be more big volume buys, or will the money be split? Because they still have to buy a lot.
If you really look at it, usually आपके 4, 5, 6 बड़े players जो होते हैं, वो आपका majority पैसा वहीं पे लग जाता है. उसके बाद, there are uncapped players, there are capped players, there are even international players. You're seeing De Kock going for a crore odd, right? So you've got to get into the hunt for maybe 4 to 5 players who you consider as core to your squad for that year. 4, 5 players, that's where you go big. And I think that they will have enough and much money. Usually, again, as I said, I want to come back to it. Not everybody's looking for 25 players. You are looking at maybe anywhere between 19 to 22 players. So you're not going to buy, hopefully they don't buy 25 players. And at the same time, they're not all of them will be, big time players, like proven players who you want to bring into your playing 11 straight up. So I think this is a guy that both these guys are guys that they want to have in their playing 11, which fills or plugs some holes that they've identified. So more power to them. It won't be scattered. You might as well see them going for another 4 or 5 crore players. If they want Ravi Bishnoi, I think he'll go fairly big as well. So, but
Ravi Bishnoi is another player जिसके ऊपर सबकी निगाहें हैं. अभी हालांकि उनका
रहेंगी. अगर आप देखें तो लास्ट ईयर आरआर ने यूजी चहल को जाने दिया. He went to Kings 11 and performed really well. I wouldn't be surprised if RR wants to bring Ravi Bishnoi in, fairly similar in terms of how bowlers are. And unka squad काफी टूट गया था because they'd done reasonably well the year before. And the moment they had to leave, Joss Butler went, they had to let Yuzi go. They kept most of their batting squad in, right? And that did not fire. They had a lot of changes. So ho sakta they might go for a lot of these players right now.
But अगर हम trades की बात करें, like Sam Curran and Naveen Jadeja going to Rajasthan Royals, Rashesh, how fruitful are these trade-offs in the long run? And what is going on in the team's mind? If I try to understand from a fan perspective.
Yeah, we see a lot of these trades in football, right? We see a lot of these trades in football leagues. We haven't seen as many trades in IPL until this year. So I think it's about time this happened more prominently. And this season, a lot of the teams have been smart enough to do that. I'll give you an example of Mumbai Indians. They brought in someone like a Shardul Thakur, a Sharfin Rutherford, and Mayank Markande. All three players at a collective price of about 4.9 crores. Now, if you sit in the auction and look at all the dynamics and the team strategies, etc., there's no way you'll be able to have these three players at this kind of a price. You might have ended up paying more than 10 crores for it. So, in that sense, it's a smart choice. Now, this is something that KKR did not do. They decided to go for the auction and then pick certain specific players that they wanted to go for because they were not convinced they had a strong enough players. Mumbai Indians were just trying to strengthen their team, so they used the trading window effectively. So it's different strategies for different teams, but I think the trading window, if you can use it effectively, is a more reliable way of picking up, building your squad rather than relying on auctions.
Now, as we speak, Ravi Bishnoi has been put out for auction. And of course, the base price is 2 crores. And like everybody said, he will be watched, most sought after, one of the most sought after right now. And as we speak, the price has already touched 2.6 crores. CSK and Rajasthan Royals, both of them were expected to bid for him. are right now locked in in a price war, and I think it's to 3 crores. It's already touched 3 crores. इनके बारे में मैं आपसे प्रिडिक्शन अब करने को नहीं बोलूंगा निखिल, बट किधर जाएगा ये, मतलब ये गुगली किस तरफ जाएगी?
देखिए, मैं एज आई वाज सेइंग, आरआर लेट यूजी चहल गो, राइट? अब आप टेक्निकली देखें तो आईपीएल का सबसे सक्सेसफुल प्लेयर है, बट हैविंग सेड दैट, किसी किसी की स्ट्रैटेजी होती है कि क्रिकेट जो है, और ऐसा मुझे लगता है, ऐसा किसी ने बोला नहीं है, यू गो हैवी ऑन द बैट्समैन समटाइम्स एंड यू से वी, आई थिंक दैट्स व्हाट आरआर थॉट, कि हमें बैट्समैन लोड करने हैं, क्योंकि इट इज अबाउट आउटस्कोरिंग टीम्स हियर ऑन. Of course, everybody has a different view. Sometimes people say raw pace नहीं मिलती. I think raw pace चाहिए, raw pace चाहिए. A lot of people talk about it. मुझे समझ नहीं आता है वो. Every time somebody bowls over 150, IPL बोलती है इसको साइन कर लो. चाहे उसकी 150 वाली बॉल आपको हाफ वॉली पे मिले, चाहे उसका कोई कंट्रोल ना हो, बट 150 देख के आदमी पागल हो जाता है. So everybody has a different strategy, but I
think ये कहीं ना कहीं this is also in the DNA of Indian cricket, Nikhil. We we run on high on emotions.
हाँ, 150 फेंकता है जी. अब वो 150 किधर फेंकता है, कैसे फेंकता है, क्यों फेंकता है, समटाइम्स वी डोंट गेट इनटू इट. And of course, I think RR went batsman heavy last year. They let somebody like Yuzi go. You look at how well he did for KKR, for Kings 11, despite with his injury concerns, etc. Ravi is fairly similar to Yuzi in a lot of ways. Fairly similar. Of course, the experience that Yuzi has a very different outlook to. So I think RR will go strong for him. Having said that, CSK has a lot of budget. He's somebody who could go into and fit into playing 11s of both the teams. So dekhiye.
And he's already close to 5 crores, and I think CSK still has 43.4 crores left. I mean, they haven't spent one penny till now.
Correct.
I think now they're opening their purses. So I think they will go heavy going forward, and Rajasthan just have a budget of 16 crores. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes from.
If Rajasthan could get him anywhere close to 10, 12, I don't think they will tap out too easily. Because if they've expressed their interest in going for a player, I don't think they're going to tap out fairly quickly. They went, I think, even for Cam Green, they went in for fairly hard for him till the time the budget didn't allow. So there's a budget that they have, and they feel there's a player in the pool, because the pool is very limited. And when it comes to the player, it's also draw in terms of how things are coming out of the bag. If Ravi Bishnoi comes out now, I think RR will go hard at it. And then at some point in time, if they can't compete, they can't compete. But they will go for it.
Sure. Rashesh, what do you think? 5.4 crores already touch कर चुका है Ravi Bishnoi as we speak.
नहीं, और तो ऊपर जाएगा, ऊपर डेफिनेटली जाएगा. एंड आई थिंक SRH is another team who might be interested in him, so we'll sort of keep an eye on whether there is another franchise who might enter the bidding war as well.
Yes.
But clearly RR have got a limitation. They don't have a strong enough pulse. So I think Nikhil is right. About 12 crore beyond that, they probably might not be able to go for it. CSK have got all the money, so if they are convinced that he is the player to pair with Ravindra Jadeja, they are going to go all the way. And Ravi Bishnoi is clearly a quality bowler, a modern T20 bowler.
But don't you think RR also needs a reliable Indian finisher? I mean, that is also something which they are lagging.
Yeah, they do, but who knows? They might have sort of earmarked some lesser-known player for that spot, which is why they have decided to go for Ravi Bishnoi. Remember, this is more prized commodity, I think, an Indian leg spinner, an Indian who can sort of play all the games. If Ravi Bishnoi plays, he'll play all the games. He may be expensive in a few matches, but he's got the goods to be able to turn it around as well. So he's a quality performer in the pool, in the auction pool at least, I think in the overall mix as well. So I would not be surprised if this bid goes beyond 10 CR. Which team challenges CSK is something that would be very interesting to watch.
I mean, as of now, it's CSK and Rajasthan who are bidding for it. But I think ये जहाँ पे लड़ेगा, जो अभी तक समझ में आ रहा है कि एक तो बिडिंग भी बहुत स्लो मूव कर रही है. दैट इज ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द इंडिकेशंस, लाइक वी हैड डिस्कस्ड अभी कुछ देर पहले रशेश, कि मतलब बिडिंग स्लो है तो मतलब ये ज्यादा इंटरेस्टेड नहीं है इसको पुश करने में सारी टीम्स भी. तो अभी फिलहाल आपको लगता है कि ये 10 करोड़ का बिड क्रॉस करेगा इन एनी फॉर्म फॉर रवि बिश्नोई?
ये तो इंटरेस्टेड नहीं है, लेकिन क्या कोई तीसरी टीम आ सकती है? विल वेट एंड वॉच. अगेन दीस थिंग्स आर वेरी फ्लूइड. स्ट्रेटजी बना के आप आते हैं, आप एक बेंचमार्क लेके आते हैं, लेकिन समटाइम्स यू मिस आउट ऑन अ फ्यू प्लेयर्स एंड देन यू हैव टू री-स्ट्रेटेजाइज and then you sort of increase your bidding volume as well. So that is something we'll have to wait and see. But I think there's no denying the quality that Bishnoi brings to the table to any playing team. So I still feel this bid will go much further than it is at the moment, placed at the moment.
एंड आई थिंक सीएसके उतरी ही इस मामले में यहाँ पे है क्योंकि उन्होंने अभी तक खर्चा किया ही नहीं है एंड आई थिंक सो इज द केस विद सनराइजर्स हैदराबाद एंड आई थिंक they have now patience. CSK is backed out. It's Rajasthan versus Sunrisers now. Sunrisers, which is a purse of 25.5 crores. I mean, they had not entered into the fray till now. They have now started opening their purse. Rajasthan again, they're sitting at 16 crores. Do you think this is advantage Sunrisers Hyderabad, Nikhil?
नो नॉट रियली. देखिए 8-9 करोड़ रुपए से बहुत ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. कोर्स सनराइजर्स को प्लेयर्स भी शायद ज्यादा लेने हैं. बट आई थिंक एट द एंड ऑफ द डे व्हाट इज इट दैट दे वैल्यू अ प्लेयर लाइक दिस. मुझे लगता है 10-12 करोड़ तक चले जाना चाहिए था रवि बिश्नोई के लिए. But
Okay.
it's anybody's guess where it goes from here on. How much do they value? What do they see? Do they feel him? He should be an automatic fit into both those squads straight up. Given the fact
Sure.
that they don't necessarily have somebody like him, there's any which case not a lot of leg spinners you could put into a squad and say, go out, bowl your 4 overs. So let's see where that goes. But I don't think budget should be a constraint now that CSK is out, right? They should be fairly similar up. CSK almost double 2.5 times tha RR ka. From that perspective 25 और 16 करोड़ में बहुत ज्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं. अगर आपको प्लेयर चाहिए, there's a certain value that you have in your mind. Like Cameron Green is possibly the player of the auction, right? So उसके लिए अगर
Tournament
आप
so far,
25
हाँ.
तक जा रहे हैं, हाँ, तो उसके लिए आप जा सकते थे. क्या रवि बिश्नोई वहां है? शायद नहीं, but he should be an important part of the system, right? So again Pathirana जैसा प्लेयर जो था 18-1 करोड़ रुपए के अंदर अगर गया है, so he had some salience, and I think Ravi Bishnoi has some kind of salience there. Kitni? Let's just see. It's my guess is as good as yours at this point in time.
Sure. Nikhil, thank you so much. I think Abhi, as we speak, it's Ravi Bishnoi has already touched 7.2 crores. And CSK is out of the race right now. The fight is between Rajasthan. He's sold at 7.2 crores to Rajasthan Royals. You're fairly right. 7.2 crores is the price. Rashesh, what do you think? Good buy?
No, I think it's a good buy.
Value
Good
for
buy,
money?
good buy, good price, good buy, good price. Ravi Bishnoi, if his name had come earlier, who knows, he might have gone for more money. But I think, remember, they have roped in Ravindra Jadeja, and we now see Jadeja and Bishnoi to go together as spinners in the middle overs, which is a terrific combination to have. So I think it's a very good buy for Rajasthan Royals. I'm surprised SRH didn't stretch this further. With CSK, one can understand because they already have a quality spinner in Noor Ahmed, so they didn't want to sort of stretch it too far as far as the bidding goes. But it's a good buy for RR. It's a quality player. They released two Sri Lankan spinners, probably with the option of wanting an Indian player to sort of fill in that slot. And Ravi Bishnoi is clearly that player for them.
Sure. We're joined by Som Shurva Laha. Som Shurva, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to this special broadcast. Before you came in, Ravi Bishnoi just got sold for 7.2 crores to Rajasthan Royals. I mean, he was one of the most sought after players, and everybody was also talking about him when it comes to Indian players. Do you think right buy for Rajasthan Royals at 7.2 crores fitting into the equation? क्या लगता है आपको?
And going on with the legacy of RR, they value spinners. If you remember the previous bowling combinations, they've always preferred good spinners, and Ravi Bishnoi gives them that head start in terms of he's a very calm, cool-headed bowler. He knows where to bowl, especially in the death. May tend to get whacked for a few runs probably, but he gets those breakthroughs. That is very important. I mean, after all, it's a bowler's game. You might spend a lot on the batters, but you have to get those bowlers as well. So yeah, good buy actually.
Sure. Now, since you've just joined, I'll pose you this question. Sunrisers Hyderabad has been quiet till now. They haven't spent. So going forward, where do you think their strategy lies? What are they aiming at? And where will they open their purse?
Yeah, I'm actually very surprised, and with CSK as well. What are they doing with that purse? I mean, because the players are slipping out. The one thing that I feel that the unsold players, they will come back. Now the thing is the strategy always has been like once the entire round is done, the IPL then asks the respective franchises for the players if they want them to come back to the auction. So you will expect some quick bidding and very short base price sells for those players.
Everybody was thinking either with Livingstone, they will bid high because he was also one of the most sought after players. But to everybody's surprise, he went unsold. So that came as a surprise to everybody.
He should come back. I think he should come back.
You think he'll come back?
He will come back.
Rashesh, क्या लगता है आपको?
Livingston should
Livingstone
buy
वापसी करेंगे?
some buyers, but again, it depends upon where the auction is placed at the moment, because that accelerated auction will come in much later in the day, right? So it depends upon who is left with how much money. अगर पैसा नहीं है तो आप नहीं ले सकते, because his base price is 2 CR. But I think the fact that the people did not have him in their first they had not slotted him as their first choice means that they will not go overboard. If somebody's got a vacant slot available, they might be able to rope him in at 2 CR the base price. But I think it's one of the surprises of this auction that nobody bothered to go for a power hitter of his quality with the limited quality in the overall pool of players that are
But
available.
even with Akashdeep, I mean, every Sunrisers it was expected that Sunrisers would target Akashdeep as well because he would be rightfully fitting into the equation, but that also didn't happen.
Akashdeep, I think Shom might be able to tell us. He lives closer to where Akashdeep plays his sport. But I think Akashdeep, if this isn't his format, right? I mean, Akashdeep is more of a red ball bowler. If you pick him up in an IPL squad, he will more be a bench bowler to begin with. He might play the occasional game. So obviously, with most of the teams having a lot of their players, they're playing 12 sorted. I'm not surprised nobody went for him.
Sure. Now
the thing with Akash Dev is that he's a very good death overs bowler, right? So I think there's some strategy going on. I mean, he will be targeted, but I think Rashesh is right. I mean, no one is trying to go overboard. If you look at the overall buys, I mean, keep aside say Pathirana or Cameron Green, the franchises have been, I think, bordering on overcautious when it comes to buys. So I don't know what the strategy is. And if you look at the bidding process of Ravi Bishnoi, it was so slow. So everyone was taking their own sweet time. They were discussing and all that. You don't see that often with a say like a player like Ravi Bishnoi. So I think the overall the mood is very cautious. So
do
we'll have to
you
wait and
think
watch.
it's also because franchisees have also learned their lesson that overbidding on one player doesn't often reap results? I mean, we have seen how
I mean, with all the you can learn all your lessons you want, but there will be one emotional buy or there will be one impulse buy. You can always expect that in an auction, right? I mean, if you compare the 2008 auction to this one, so obviously the teams have learned a lot. I mean, they have evolved a lot. The strategy is not emotion based. It's a lot based on the matchups and data and etc. But there will be some emotional bias, I'm sure. I mean, not everything can be numbers based.
Sure. Now, I think there's a break for the auction. In the meanwhile, I'll ask you this question, Mr. Laha, what I had been asking to other panelists. When it comes to CSK, do you think Thalaiva retiring this year, or do you think he's likely to continue something with some designation like a power coach, or maybe a Thalaiva, just that he's not playing with CSK? Do you think this is the retirement year for Mahendra Singh Dhoni, or you think he's likely to continue?
I think they're still trying to find a position for him. I mean, what will you do with MS Dhoni? You don't know. I mean, he can't be coach. He's more than an ambassador. He's more than an icon.
He will be a co-owner.
क्या होगा?
Co-owner.
Yeah. I mean, we can expect that. Maybe a Rajya Sabha ticket for him as well.
Probably. I mean, and I think to answer your question very directly, I think he will play. But I think this time probably the franchise will finally say, okay, let's just give him a break. Let him choose the games. Okay, so as of now, you were seeing that he was choosing when he will enter the game, and more or less in the 18th, 19th over, he was like really keeping himself away. Now probably you might see that phase where he's picking and choosing the games. See, the thing is this for CSK, as long as Dhoni is in the ground, it's all that matters. So whether it's in even if it's in the dugout, I mean, you have to take into consideration his physical parameters. It's definitely on the wane, right? I mean, the guy is not getting younger, so you have to keep that in mind, and you have to really be cautious and clever with him. So that way, I don't think they will. Dhoni, you can't set a date. You can't set an expiry date on that guy. Definitely, especially when it comes to CSK. So I mean, it's wait and watch. No one can predict these things.
Sure. But going forward, do you think CSK also needs a quality spinner, and they haven't opened their purses in a very exorbitant manner? I mean, CSK and KKR were expected to go on big shopping spree. KKR till now has purchased two very big players. CSK, on the contrary, has not been very active so far. So,
I think
where do
KKR
you think they're
have
going ahead with
basically,
this?
yeah, KKR have basically done their shopping, the major part of the shopping.
Yeah.
And with regards to CSK, I don't know. I mean, they should have targeted Pathirana. I don't know why they didn't go for him.
Hmm.
There's always this, they didn't also go for Rachin Ravindra. I mean, that was a little
Yeah.
mysterious to me, because CSK always tend to go for this good boy type of players who do their jobs, and he's young. He could be like groomed into something for them. And we know Rachin has a connection. He always prefers coming to India, playing in India. And with CSK, there was like some kind of bond already happening. To let go of that was a little surprising from their end. And to be very honest, I mean, I don't get this strategy of not loosening that purse. I mean, that's a lot of money, and the players are quickly slipping
The
out
players are
now.
going.
Yeah.
What do you think is going on in their mind, Rashesh? अभी तक खर्चा क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं? क्या सोच रहे हैं वो? क्या कोई अलग से स्ट्रैटेजी निकलेगी जिसके हमको दर्शन होंगे आगे चल करके? I mean, क्या चल रहा है उनके दिमाग में? What are they thinking?
Yeah, I
Had
think
you
it's
been
very
in their
curious.
place, what would you have done?
If I was in their place, MS Dhoni would not have been playing. But clearly, I'm not. But I don't know. I think it's a very curious situation because they've got a lot of money left, and some of the expected big buys are gone. Right? I mean, Livingston, Miller, it is that slot of a power hitter. Those are gone. Pathirana, they released and they didn't go for him. Cam Green is gone. So they probably have a few smart buys in their mind, perhaps some of the uncapped players who they expect there would be bidding wars and they want to sort of reserve some cash for that. Who knows? Maybe someone like an Akib Nabi. I think their bowling is a little weak. If you look at their overall bowling stocks, they don't have an established too many established bowling names other than their top spinner, quality spinner in Noor Ahmed. So maybe they're looking for some pace reinforcements and maybe some of them may come from the uncapped category, maybe someone like an Akib Nabi. So I think those are the categories as well. But I still believe they still got some work to do. See, the good thing is they've done a lot of the repair work in the back end of the last season as well. Some they did not start well, but they roped in people like a Deval Bravis and Ayush Matre, etc. Urvil Patel. Now all these three players are expected to be their playing 12 regulars. So they've sort of sorted their batting to a great degree. Now I think they need to focus on their bowling, and this is perhaps that they might have some surprises in store for us.
And I think RCB is done with their shopping as well. I mean, I don't think they will be seeing much action happening from their end as well, because their playing 11 is pretty much sorted now.
Yeah, RCB
Yeah, I
are,
think so.
are well placed. I think one bowler they needed a backup for one of the fast bowlers, and they've got that place sorted now. So I think RCB are very well placed. Again, a team which wins an IPL, you don't expect them to make too many tweaks. It's about time they sort of believe in continuity.
Hmm.
So they were not expected to be too active in any case.
Of course.
RCB, Punjab Kings, Gujarat Titans. These are some of the teams, Mumbai Indians. These are teams which are well sorted. They've done all the work before the auction begins. The focus was always on CSK and KKR. KKR had have done what we expected them to do. CSK are obviously springing up a few surprises. Maybe those surprises are in store, which we'll sort of know in the hours ahead.
बट एक बहुत ज्यादा चर्चा सरफराज खान के नाम पर भी हो रही थी, एंड इट वाज एक्सपेक्टेड दैट सीएसके विल go all out, but that doesn't seem to happen so far. I mean, as we speak, I'm also trying to understand what's going on in their mind. Mr. La, what do you think?
Actually, yeah, I mean, with all the transformation, the weight transformation and everything, and everything plays a part, right? And this guy is a ferocious hitter of the ball. So, matlab, and the one thing that we have not seen actively is like कि Indian players उतना अभी तक buy नहीं हुआ है. Okay, so I think that's another front where maybe see the thing is this, all these franchises have so many scouts. They are always scouting for new talent. There could be one point of discussion that probably Sarfaraz Khan, everyone knows how to bowl to him, or something like that, or maybe a franchise would say that I would rather spend 30 lakh on an uncapped uncut gem scouted from the some corner of the country, rather than splurging say around 5 crore on Sarfaraz. So that is a tactic many franchises think is a better option. So Abhi not taking Sarfaraz Khan, I think he's always a great addition to
I mean,
any
he
team.
performed very well. I mean, in the Mushtaq Ali Trophy, and he was like very sought after. And it was expected that when he comes on the auction, there will be brouhaha. But
Yeah, I
it
mean,
was just haha.
the Syed Mustaq Ali ka performance, though obviously is a factor, but the now the franchise is also very smart. They always try and get more matchup data against. See, if he's a cap player, if he has played in the IPL before, trust these franchises to get data on how he's against spinners, against certain bowlers. So they will always think that okay, probably the numbers are not in favor of this guy. So probably they are not going for that. You never know.
Do you think teams have also learned, rather than going for hype, they go more on the substance? And I think that is also one of the strategies where a lot of high profile players went unsold. I mean, Livingston being one of the prominent examples also, although you are hopeful कि वो वापसी करेंगे, but on the face of it, it doesn't look like.
I mean, the shelf life of players are also, especially Indian players. If you look at the overall context, shelf life of these players, it is decreasing. I mean, Abhi people, the franchise are looking for novelty and as well as continuity. So they're looking to continue with the core and add some and add a dash of players say who scores 50 of 25 balls or 20 balls. So they're always on the lookout for that, or some spinner with a weird action. Okay, so now if that is the outlook of most of the teams, you know the Indian players, the uncapped players, that's a lot of pressure on them. So you have to be like really stand out to catch that attention. There are a few uncapped players, there are a few cap players as well, but I think again the mood of the room is very cautious on the front of all the franchises.
Rashesh, when we started our conversation, you were pretty confident or hopeful of the uncapped players. Any names you have in mind जो uncapped players में, especially जो आज नए 19 प्लेयर ऐड हुए हैं सुबह, आपको लगता है कि उनमें से कुछ लोग अभी आकर के थोड़ा सा मूवमेंट यहाँ पे होगा पैसों का, लोगों का? Any names which are standing out in your head when it comes to uncapped players going forward?
नहीं, उनमें इसलिए तो नहीं क्योंकि वो 19 प्लेयर वो होते हैं जो एज एन आफ्टर थॉट फ्रेंचाइजीज ऐड करती है, उसमें अभिमन्यु ईश्वरन भी है, अगेन टी20 उनका
हाँ
फॉर्मेट नहीं है। लेकिन
हाँ
अनकैप्ड वो भी है ना, जो आप जिनको आपने ट्रायल्स पर बुलाया है, जो दुनिया नहीं जानती, वो पर्दे के पीछे उन्हें देखते हैं, उनको कुछ टास्क देते हैं, वो उस पर खड़े उतरते हैं। पीपल वर सॉर्ट ऑफ गिवन टास्क लाइक यू हैव टू सॉर्ट ऑफ स्कोर सर्टेन अमाउंट ऑफ रन्स इन फ्यूअर बॉल, लाइक Vaibhav Suryavanshi, who had seen,
yes
but
exactly
obviously
that's a very good
RR
example
were
actually.
convinced, and they were convinced, and he would have bowled to some, quality bowlers would have bowled to him, and he would have delivered the task. And that is when you are convinced. You look a lot of data, you look at a lot of those analytics, and then you are convinced if someone else is not. So again, it's a judgmental call. So I think Ashok Sharma, there's been a lot of buzz around him, the Rajasthan tall fast bowler. He's been doing well. Again, it's against a rare commodity that an Indian fast bowler can touch 140s consistently. He can sort of hit the deck as well. Whether he's obviously not a finished product, so that is something that a judgment call you have to take, whether you'll be able to develop that player in the coming years. Remember, there's a mega auction coming in a couple of years time, so you'll only get that player for 2 years, and then you'll have to probably release him because you can retain only a certain player. So all these factors are to be considered. But I think one player, not who's uncapped of course, but fairly experienced in the domestic circuit, Akib Navi, should find some takers. He's on serious form at the moment. Yes, not a complete an out and out T20 bowler, but someone who can sort of hit the right areas. And I think he would be a very good addition for any of the teams who go for. Again, it's an area, like I said, which does not have too much of competition in terms of the quality of the pool. So some teams might want to go after him. But there are plenty of other players who Sean also watches a lot of domestic cricket, so he may have some players in mind as far as the uncapped category is concerned. But clearly, some of the teams that have gone slightly lazy as far as the bidding is concerned, they are anticipating some serious bidding war for some lesser known players, which is why they've sort of preserved their cash.
Yeah, that seems to be the strategy. Whether that will work or not, time will tell. But according to you, Akib Nabi will be one of the most prominent buys going forward, if I understand correctly.
That's right. I think because I think there are a few teams who got vacant slots as well as far as that category goes. So it'd be useful option. Again, it's a case of like we were talking about Livingston. We expected him to go for a lot of money, not because he's the best power hitter in the world at the moment, but amongst the 369 players, he's one of the sort of seemingly the best capable batter who can comes with those skill sets. So in that, if you look at that sort of example, Akib Navi is certainly amongst the pool of players that are available at the moment. He's a quality performer, so more than one team should be interested in him. But again, this auction, like every other auction, has sprung in a few surprises. The big one being nobody interested in Quinton de Kock. Who would have thought? I thought there'd be more teams queuing up for him. Remember, he's someone who doesn't play all formats of international cricket, so he's fully available all the time. So you might have thought more teams would be gearing up for him. In fact, I think Mumbai Indians have got a steal, a proper steal in coming into the auction with a 2.75 crore prize purse, and then to get Quinton de Kock for 1 CR is a terrific buy. So there'll be some sort of bargain buys as well, some cheap buys as well. But the uncapped category would be clearly.
That was a proper Gujarati ploy. I mean, I don't have any words for it. 2.7 crore as the total purse size. You get Quinton de Kock at 1 crore. But Rashesh, thank you so much for joining us on this special broadcast. I'm joined by Samreen. Samreen, I'll take this from Rashesh and put this on you. When it comes to Nabi, Akib Nabi, what do you think? Is he going to be one of the most sought after players going forward? If yes, by which team? Where do you think he will fit best? In whose equation?
I do agree with Rasesh on how Nabi is expected to be one of the uncapped players likely to go big. He's had two wonderful back-to-back Ranji seasons, and again, T20, very different format, but he also proved his mettle in the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy, and he has
Yeah.
some batting prowess as well. So, and he has been, I mean, if you speak to a lot of bowlers in the circuit at the moment. I spoke to Bhuvneshwar Kumar recently and asked him if he sees any potential in these swing bowlers. He mentioned Nabi's name and said that he watched him closely during his net bowling days with Sunrisers Hyderabad. So he's definitely on. He has been in on the radar, but with numbers and with back-to-back good performances, I'm sure he is likely to be one of the names that gets picked up. Which team? I think he'd be a good fit at Lucknow Super Giants along with Avesh Khan. I see that as a very interesting duo, bowling duo. Other than that, mm, I think Gujarat Titans with Mohammad Siraj. I think it would be nice to see him open the bowling with Siraj.
Yeah, we'll get a better assessment once we see
Yeah,
the
we
playing
have.
11 and
Yeah, for sure.
the list of the players who are there on each
Yeah.
side as of now.
Yeah.
But any surprises for you till now, Samreen? I mean, what
Um,
was the biggest surprise? What has been the biggest surprise so far for you?
I think the biggest surprise has been Patirana's price tag. I definitely expected him to go big, but 18 crores, I think, a bit much.
And
Though I
and and
anticipated.
and, and not Livingston's no tag at all. I mean, wasn't
Yeah,
that a biggest
no, I
surprise?
mean, yeah, that was but I think he will definitely go big in the accelerated auction.
Okay.
I'm sure teams are looking at it and they have some plans in place to get him. But I think yes, for now I'm just kind of reeling with 18 crores for Pathirana. He is a great bowler, and his partnership with Dwayne Bravo at CSK worked out really well. This time too, again, the partnership will continue, and he's not a finished product, very promising product, but 18 crores for that, that was surprised by. But yes, of course, Livingston going unsold. I mean, after you know. His proved performances, a bit of a shocker, but yes, I'm sure he will be picked up in the accelerated auction.
Pathirana's 18 crores, too much
Yeah.
for Samiran. What do you think, Som? We were
Yeah,
having a
I think,
different conversation, but in a similar context a couple of minutes ago.
yeah, 18 is a bit too much. I think I was expecting something around 10 to 12, to be very
Yeah.
honest. Nothing more than that. Okay.
Yeah.
See, the thing is this now,
So,
this is what I was
people,
telling you, that bowlers with a little bit of different action, they tend to fetch that price on, view. It's a little bit of a window shopping also. मतलब इसको देखा
okay,
तो अच्छा लगा तो I might pay that extra premium for him. So if
but do
Pathirana
you think? I
wasn't,
mean, do you think he might turn out to be this year's Rishabh Pant? I mean,
oh God,
a lot of money was placed on Rishabh Pant, and many people were saying that it's too high. Last year
I
as
would
well, I
not.
mean, similar arguments were made. Do you
Yeah, I
think
would not.
this year?
I would not wish that on any player. But the thing is this: see, Rishabh Pant ka matlab analysis. See, he is a star. He's an icon. But I truly think that for the past couple of seasons, at least, Rishabh Pant hasn't been himself in the T20 format. Okay,
Hmm,
he is
as
great
well,
as a
huh?
test player. You kind of need that kind of spunk, that whatever that has happened, irrespective of what the results might say, look, especially what happened in the South Africa series probably. But Rishabh Pant का अभी थोड़ा मतलब I don't know. It's a little getting a little difficult for him in T20, and he's taking on a lot of burden. He's taking on a lot of responsibilities. I think he's telling himself, I have to play well, and that is you know uh, not allowing him to be himself. Whereas with the Pathirana, I think the thing is that sling action. Okay, that is the main thing that the franchises will look at.
Hmm.
There have been, I can certainly recall a few occasions when he was tongue for a
I mean, if
15
we
20
go with
runs
the
per over.
purse, I mean, 25 crores, Sunrisers Hyderabad is still sitting at the amount they came in. CSK
Yeah.
still has 41 crores left. I mean, I think these two are big players. 19 crores is still left with KKR. Lucknow Super Giants buys. What kind of buys do you expect going forward, Samin?
Sorry, I didn't catch your question. Missed it.
I'm saying that a lot of money is still there on the table if you consider the amount from each of the teams.
Yeah.
What kind of buys are you expecting now? Because a lot of high profile buys have already gone by.
Yeah.
Do you think players like Livingstone will emerge again now going
For
forward?
sure, they will emerge in the accelerated auction, but I think now teams that have been playing it a little low key, they are going to invest in the players that exclusively they've been, looking at, who came to the trials, net bowling, and I think the scouting masterclass is now going to come into fore. I think players that they wanted to keep close to their chest and did not want to reveal. I think those are the buys that we should now, I think, be excited to look forward to now.
Okay,
I
so
think the
what do you think?
auction strategy, it's a little difficult. It's a very complicated thing. And I've spoken to a
Yes.
few people behind the scenes, and they always, there are always two groups. There's one group who doesn't want to go beyond one point, and there's another group who wants to splurge everything if they are really, convinced that this is the guy. So if you look at the Quinton de Kock price, that is absurd. More absurd is the price that David Miller went for. Now the thing is this: now all the teams have decided that मुझे इसको पकड़ना है, इसको पकड़ना है. I'm surprised no one went for David Miller.
No
And
one went for De Kock. I mean, he was sold
no
within
one
two
went for De Kock.
minutes.
I mean, I still would prefer Miller over De Kock. I don't know why, but I think
Yes.
Miller is a better finisher, right? So I would
The,
always prefer a finisher. Now, no one going for Miller, and that too when he has been part of the 22 Gujarat Titans winning team. when you see that kind of CV and you don't go for that player, that's strange. That's really
Yeah.
strange. But there's also some unsaid equation going behind the scenes. You don't know that
What's going on? I mean, we'll get to know eventually. We'll get to
yeah,
know
probably
eventually.
there's
We have.
some unsaid argument. I will bid on that player. I will bid on that player. There are always stories that some franchises are allowed to have this say कि नहीं उसको लेने दो इस player को. ऐसे भी
Sure.
हुआ है कुछ stories. हाँ. So
Now, we are joined by RJ Ilahi, who will be sort of a DJ for us going forward and like letting us know his opinions. What do you think? I mean, I'll ask you to give your opening remarks. I mean, I'm sure you must have been following the auction till now. Any surprises for you till now?
Of course, the price, David Miller. I mean, of course, how Quinton de Kock and David Miller have been, making sure that the auction doesn't overpass the legacy of what the T20 cricket is all about. There is a certain change, and of course, the way Quinton de Kock, especially when he played the last match against India, it was quite obvious for him to make a statement that he's here to roar. And especially when you talk about T20 cricket, of course, you have to start with a hammer. And that's how he played. The knock of 90 runs was something that was really loved by the spectators. Of course, it's being played in here in India. But yes, the auction is something that I'm actually looking forward to.
Sure. Now, do you have anything to say about Livingstone? Because was that a surprise to you? Because all of us were surprised. And like Som said, 1 मिनट भी नहीं लगा क्विंटन डिकॉक को बिकने में, वो भी 1 करोड़ के प्राइस पे.
Of course.
Picked up by a team which had only 2.75 crores in their pocket.
Of course.
I mean, you call that a world of irony? I mean, I don't know.
It is a world of irony because what Livingstone has done to the cricketing world is something that's commendable. And of course, players like him, I thought he's going to be one of those first picks during this auction. And of course, right now he is not here on the table. Of course, he's off the chart. But I'm sure in a very accelerated manner, he's going to be for sure a part of the auction in coming days.
Sure. Now, as of now, on the auction bid is Akib Dar. He had a base price of 30 lakhs, but he's sitting at 1 crore rupees right now. And I think it's primarily Delhi Capitals and LSG who are fighting for him. 1.3, 1.4 crores as we speak. What do you think, Eli? Where is this headed?
Well, I personally think that it's headed towards Delhi. And of course, the heart beats for Delhi. I mean, you can't really take away the fact because we are a part of the Delhi crew. And of course, we want a strong team this year. And of course, we are looking forward to the auctions. And of course, if you get a good player, certainly, like you said, there is a certain price hike. And of course, going to 1 crore is a big amount. And of course, every player needs to justify that worth because then there is a solid ton of pressure that comes on their shoulder, which actually might act as a souvenir that they can proudly show off. And of course, Delhi needs to pick up some great players for this year. Can't really wait to scream out from my larynx and my bronchus to make sure that Delhi wins this year. And of course, to win, they need to form a great team.
Sure. Now, I'll come to you, Samreen. We had not heard much about him, Akib Dar, before this. And now his base price was, of course, 30 lakhs. He's not touched 2 crores. And like Eli said, Delhi is very aggressively batting for him. Do you think he is the right fit, considering the equation?
Right, yeah, I think he's the same player that me and Rasesh were talking about, Akib Nabi. He also goes by Akib Dar.
Okay.
Yeah, we hadn't heard too much about him, but the last 2 seasons, like I said, for his Ranji performances, he was among the leading wicket takers. And 5 wicket hauls, 4 wicket hauls, 6 wicket hauls every other match. And again, this year he proved his worth even in the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy, and RCB has also come into the fray here. I think, yeah, like
Sunrisers Hyderabad has also come into
yes,
fray
yes.
after a long time.
Not
Finally.
surprised. Not surprised by Sunrisers Hyderabad because they've watched him very closely. He was a net bowler for them for quite some time. And yeah, I see him fitting in more with Lucknow Super Giants, Sunrisers Hyderabad, Delhi. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if at Kotla, I can't really imagine him there. But yes, um, regardless, he'll be a good fit for every team. And I think he's done the job to make it to an 11 this time. He had been, a net bowler, but I see him making it into an 11, becoming, an enforcer kind of bowler for the likes of, maybe say, if you have a primary bowler in Siraj, if you have a primary bowler in Bhuvi at RCB, he is going to be a very good ally.
Sure. Now, Delhi and Sunrisers are bidding for him. 6.6 crores is already the bid price where we are sitting at, and it's expected to go further. Som, what do you think?
Two
Was
things.
this a surprise for you, or were you
No,
expecting?
yeah, I was expecting this. So two things I want to point out. So this August in a Duleep Trophy game against East Zone, unfortunately, he took 4 wickets in 4 balls.
Yeah.
Okay, so that made the news. The other thing is that not too long back, in a match against MP, which was happening here in Kolkata, he hit a 21 ball 32.
Akib.
So we are not this guy, and so
Okay.
basically we are not talking only about a bowler. He is a potential all-rounder. That is
Hmm.
what is driving up his price.
Oh, so that is the reason why he
Yeah,
has jumped from 30 lakhs to 7.6 crores. I wish my
yeah.
salary also grew at that rate.
We all wish that.
And
I think it will go. It will probably touch 10.
And
He will touch 10 according to you.
any talent from J&K is exciting. Sure, I mean, most of them, a
Always.
lot of times, they're not able to sustain.
Yeah.
But of course, there is some, the fact that you want to see more of them. You've only seen them in the domestic circuit. There was this hype
But not a
around
lot of players from
Umran.
J&K, of course, considering the political scenario as well.
Right.
But do you think going forward there'll be more players coming from Jammu and Kashmir?
For sure, they've had some really good turnarounds in the Ranji season, and in fact, HT has done some really good work trying to track the progress of these players from J&K, and he is one of the players who, I think Rasesh has done a story on. I have done a story on. Sanjeev from our team has done a story on. So yes, we knew that he is one of the most promising talents coming from there. But yes, there are a couple of others from there too who will in the coming years make it big.
And
His
as we
USP is
speak,
very different. His USP is very different from, say, from an Umran Malik though. He is more steady, more consistent, more reliable.
And as
So
we
Has a
speak,
lot of
his
control.
price is sitting at 8.4 crores and the bidding has gone slow. So that's an indication. He's sold to Delhi. He sold to Delhi for 8.4 crores. Uh, I'll come to you. What do you think? Right fit?
I absolutely feel he's the right fit, of course, because considering the fact that Delhi needs to form a great batting lineup as well as a great bowling lineup, of course, the middle person who comes in between, that segue of batting and bowling, Akib can he can make sure that Delhi stands tall, Delhi stands steady, and we were likely talking about how the scenario of J&K as far as players are concerned, and we all our childhood, all we knew was there is Kashmiri willow that comes from there, and of course all the cricket batting equipments and everything, they come from J&K. And now finally players are emerging, and of course they are playing some great cricket, especially in the domestic circuit. And finally Delhi is going to have a steady player in terms of batting as well as in terms of bowling. So of course I believe all the luck and love to Kotla for making him sure that he's one of the part of the Delhi circuit now.
Now, again, Som, Sunrisers
Yeah.
Hyderabad didn't pick, I mean, they didn't participate aggressively even in the bid. I mean, they were there
Baffling.
for some time and then they went back.
Yeah.
What's
Absolutely
going on?
baffling. Absolutely baffling. I don't know. Probably they're on a hotline with Pat Cummins. I don't know what's happening. This is really baffling. I
Or
don't
maybe
get
they
this.
came at the wrong auction. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I seriously don't understand this. I mean, the good
Okay.
players are going.
Yeah, good players are
So
knowing. That's why I'm saying, have they come for the wrong auction? Uh,
I
what's
don't
going
know.
on in their heads? I mean, I'm
I
keen
think
to.
you can always trust one franchisee that who will be telling themselves, okay, let's be quiet about the players that we want. See, every franchisee has a roster of around 10 to if they have 15 player requirement, they are looking at least 30 players. That is how it works, and they will always have two or three options, two or three names for one role. So that is how they're not looking at players, they are always looking at the roles. So probably they're seeing that probably we have these options left and we'll get them at a low price. I don't know why they are being stingy, but
I mean, eventually the game boils down to volume buy rather than value buy. That's what you're saying, right?
I mean, I think that's very confusing for them right now. I don't know what they're thinking.
Sure. Now let's for the moment let's also talk about the biggest buys today. If I have to ask you, Samin, if you have to sum up the biggest buys for today, how would you rate them, and which one will be at the top for you?
I think, of course, we expected Cameron Green to go for the bid he did. But other than that, I'm quite pleased with the amount, or the match for Venkatesh Iyer.
Hmm.
Rajat Patidar had already vouched for him, and he knows Venkatesh closely from their Madhya Pradesh days. So I think that's a very appropriate bid, appropriate fit. Other than that, yes, like I mentioned, not a big fan of the price tag of Patirana at 18 crores.
Yeah.
Other than that, expected lines and
I think by
overall
now we
pretty
have
safe.
all understood your remorse with that price. I mean,
Right.
you have mentioned it quite a few times now.
Yes. But yes, other than that, I think on expected lines and yeah, pretty sane.
Okay. So, what about you?
So I'm more interested about the 2 crore, 1 crore players, right? I mean, if you look at Finn Allen, say, Finn Allen has
As you
moved.
speak, we are sitting at one of those auctions. Prashant Veer, his
Yeah.
base price was 30 lakhs. He's 1.6 crores. He's sitting on it. And surprisingly, Mumbai have went out of the sway right now. Right now, it's CSK and Lucknow. The bid price is increasing faster than the seconds I have in my watch. It's 3.4 crores right now. Prashant Veer, any analysis of the player, RJ Babu?
Well, according to me, I feel like you rightfully said, the prices are increasing the moment you're looking at your watch, and of course, this is one of the major reasons why Indian cricket is going to achieve some great height, because these players have played in the domestic level, in the domestic circuit, and they have shown the courage, they have shown everything, the hard work, the sweat that they have put onto the field, and this is one of the major reasons why these people really holds a special amount of a regard and respect in their hearts. And of course, this is one of the major reasons why base price from 30 lakh
Right now, one which we are seeing like jumping like this. Is this also one of your volume buys?
Uh, t- uh, Two things actually. One is he's young. He's 20 years old.
Hmm.
He has a phenomenal strike rate of I think 167 or 168. I think that's his overall T20 strike rate. And
Hmm.
again, I happened to see him play here, and I think he hit a 26 ball 48 or something like that. 26 ball 40, right?
Hmm.
Against Bihar. So left-hander, mind you, and you all know these left-hand, right-hand things. So if you have a batter like him, he's a finisher. So I think
Okay.
that is also driving up the price, and but this is probably a bit too much for him.
Yeah,
Uh,
Prashant Veer, I mean, sitting at 6.2 crores. Samareen, your opinion on him? Is he also, are you happy with the price firstly?
No, not never, never happy with
No,
the
not at all. This is the
price,
second time.
but
Okay, why is that so?
yes. Again, I understand the potential that they see in a young player,
Ah,
but again, I think that's putting too much pressure or
Pressure.
value on, recency bias, I guess. You see
ah.
him, you see whether he's able to perform on the big stage at that level, able to go up against the big bowlers. That's when you go all out.
Do you
But
think
I guess
he's
this team.
only getting this advantage because he's young? I mean, is
No,
that the
no,
reason?
like Show mentioned, he has the potential to, be an explosive batter, is flexible in the batting order. So all of that plays, that's a utilitarian player that T20 teams love. So of course that obviously plays in. But yes, I think a bit too much.
Hmm.
8.2.
Okay, the bid has already touched 8 crores, and for a change, Sunrisers Hyderabad is bidding very aggressively for him. It's almost 9 crores, man. These crores are flying like
Yeah.
numbers. I mean, I wish I was there, but Elahi, what do you think?
Well, the way Orange Army is actually participating in this auction is something that's completely obnoxious for me personally, because
Yeah.
the way they started, we thought that probably it's one of the major reasons why you got to save money for Pat Cummins, of course. But when you talk about Orange Army, when you see him on the field, when you see the body gesture, when you see the management, making sure that they are going to form a great team, but at the auction, this is completely strange. And of course,
I mean, it's
losing out on a lot of players, why they are doing it, what's the strategy, this is completely unpredictable for
I
now.
think Sunrisers is very keen. I mean, it's 10.4 crores as we speak, and Sunrisers Hyderabad is still in the race. I mean, CSK and Sunrisers, they are fighting for him, Prashant Veer, as we speak. I mean, this is one of those moments for me as an anchor where where you shout at the peak of your voice, 11 crore. This is one of those moments. I mean, it's 11.2 already. 11.4. I mean, Som, what's happening? Are you there?
I think it is becoming emotional now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like me versus you.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
it's
12
getting.
crores. I mean, this is insane. He has already crossed valuations of many big players. Is
No,
he
no, no.
going to
This
be
is
the surprise, name coming out of the auction today? Prashant Veer already touching at 13 crores.
according to his price, but I don't know about the rest of it. But yeah, this is getting really not impulsive, but it is getting very knowing how the franchises function. I think it is getting the ego is getting here.
Okay, let's play this game again. Samareen, where do you think this is going to settle? He's sitting at 13.2 crores. Prashant Veer.
16.
Fast,
I
please. You
think
don't have that
16.
much option. Huh?
16. 16.
16. Eli?
Got to be 14, between 14 to 15, 14.5 or 15.
Okay. So,
Not more than 15, I think.
not more than 15. Okay. 14, 16, 15. We're all the same range. I mean, not much because everybody is dicey and at the same time, everybody is also unsure where is this going. So, he's already touched 14 crores. So, Eli, we have already touched your figure. Now it's crossed your figure. It's 14.2 crores.
All right.
Let's see. Hyderabad is still in the race. They have not stopped bidding. I think CSK is also jumping in. Let's see where this goes. I mean, this is getting interesting. So, it's
Yeah.
14.2 crores. I mean, we are
So
getting close to your figure.
CSK got.
He sold. Finally
He
sold for
sold.
14.2 crores. So I think we are between Elahi and Som. It's 14.2 crores. He's finally sold. So I'll come to you, Sameen, because you have a special inclination towards criticizing the number. So
Yes.
do you think this is the right buy at
Yeah, I
14.2
mean, I
crores?
was I was looking up his numbers during the discussion for
Ah,
CSK. Yes, because I am a big fan of the player being the right fit for a team. Now, I think
hmm.
they're seeing him as successor for Jadeja, which then makes the reasoning like then you spend the money, you invest whatever amount you're going for, it makes sense. So I think with Prashant Veer, they're also seeing him as the left arm spinner that succeeds Jadeja. That makes sense.
Okay, but finally, Sunrisers Hyderabad has got the first buy at 30 lakhs.
Wow.
Uh, but what I want to understand is like when it comes to big buys, okay, coming from Cameron Green to Pathirana to Venkatesh Iyer. If I have to ask you again, I mean, let's start this again because the players keep on changing. Ilahi, if I have to ask you to rate your top buys today, the big ones, which one will they be
Cameron
and
Green
why?
was a bit of a shock for me. I thought Cameron Green might go a little further, but of
You were
course,
expecting more price,
I was expecting a little more price from him, considering
more
the
than
fact
25.2. Okay.
a bit, considering the fact how he recently was playing and how his recent performance was, and of course, with the Pathirana, yes, price is fine. Venkatesh Iyer, yes, of course, he's a young genius, doing some great job for the Indian cricket team as well. And these players getting the amount of due respect and recognition at this auction was something that's great. But Prashant Veer, of course, a shock because I thought somewhere this is going to settle around 6 or 8 crores. But certainly, like you told, rightfully it has gone to Sunrisers Hyderabad with 14.2 crores.
No, I
Certainly a
think
shock.
I think he's going to CSK.
CSK,
Yeah.
bought for 14.2 crores, certainly a shock. And of course, a lot of pressure on him as well if we are considering him to be the successor for Ravindra Jadeja, because, you know, a young player, when the young player enters the team, obviously he has a lot to show. He can't reveal all his cards, but right now with this price tag, certainly a lot of pressure might build on his strong shoulders.
Sure. So, your top 4 players for today, I mean, who went at a high price or the price they deserved, what would be your choices? Top 4 or top 3? And why?
See, I think Cameron Green is a good buy at 25.
Okay.
If you look at the purse that KKR was carrying, I was scared that they might go bonkers about him. But thankfully, it was tapering at around 2022 and stopped at 25, which is okay.
He'll eventually get 18 crores. Anything above 18 crores goes to the BCCI.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is this: people are expecting that he will only bat, but KKR might expect a few overs from him. That will be crucial. See, the KKR's top 3 or 4 is more or less sorted now with Finn Allen in the fray and everything.
Cameron Green after that?
I think they will go with Cameron Green and Sunil Narine. I'll tell you why. Sunil Narine up the order makes more sense than Sunil Narine at 6 or 7. If you look at if you look at how he plays, he's a hit and miss kind of player. If it connects, it goes for a 6. So 7 balls he will miss 5 and he'll hit 2, and those will go for 6s. Now you can't have that kind of player at 6 or 7 when you need to finish the games. You can afford to have him in the power play when the field
I'm talking
is
about the buys. I'm talking about the buys for today, apart from Cameron Green. Which is the other big buy you thought was justified?
I think I'll still go with Pathirana because it makes sense for KKR. They've got I know that this guy will play all the matches. So that is one. Yeah, that is one thing. You can't say the same about Prashant, to be very honest.
Yeah, that's a surprise. I mean, we will eventually see whether that money was put in the right place or not. But Sameen, what about you? Your top 2, 3 buys, maybe 4.
Top has to be Cameron Green. Other than that, I think choice between either Venkatesh or Akib. Because I see Akib playing all matches for DC alongside Mitchell Stark. I see him playing all matches, so that makes sense. Again, he's not a bowler that international players know of per se, and it could be people still batters still struggle against good quality swing. Sorry, so I think he will be value for money there. I'm a bit confused as to Venkatesh being second or Akib being second for me.
Prashant Veer?
No, not for that. Not for that price. For CSK, it makes sense. Bit absurd. But we're always happy to see an uncapped player getting rich.
Okay, most absurd buys. Let's have this category. Ilahi, most absurd buy for today.
Prashant Veer, for sure.
Prashant
Veer, for sure.
Okay. Why?
I mean, coming from a base price of 30 to eventually moving, like you said, your clock was ticking, right? And you started off saying something about Prashant Veer, and the moment you started his introduction, and the moment we went to the middle ground, eventually the price skyrocketed to a good 8 or 9 crores, and eventually got settled to 14.2 crores. Of course,
I mean,
a bit of an absurd buy. Somewhere, if it would have been around 7 to 8 crores, I still would have let it go, but not right now at this moment.
I think we have another
absurd buy.
Absurd buy. Do you want to know from me again? It is going to be Matish Pathirana.
Okay. So what about you?
Negative absurd buy definitely Prashant Veer, but I think I can't still wrap my head around Quinton de Kock going for 1 crore to MI. That is absurd. David Miller going for 2 crore to DC. That is super absurd.
Now, as we speak, there's one more
absurd
or maybe very well bought auction right now. Karthik Sharma, base price of 30 lakhs, right now sitting at 4.6 crores. CSK and KKR bidding neck to neck for the player. CSK, for your information, has a purse size left of around 28 crores. KKR still has around 20 crores, 19.1 crore. My bad. So where do you think this is headed?
I
Samir?
think this will touch around 8 crore. Definitely 8 crore, I think.
Now I'll come to you again, Samir. What do you think?
Um,
He's already
ballpark,
sitting at 6.2
yeah,
crores.
ballpark 8.5.
Are we headed towards another absurd or very valuable buy? I mean, what do you think?
I think valuable buy.
Valuable buy, Ilahi?
How see will buy.
Karthik Sharma is a valuable buy. So, what do you think?
I think it's going into the territory of absurd. It's
Absurd
touching
now?
8.2 now. I think 8.2, it's a lot of pressure for a player. He's 19. I think 19 or 20, this guy. That's a lot.
Interesting.
I think an interesting point here is just noting the success in franchisee domestic cricket and Syed Mushtaq Ali just translating into bigger price tags. All of these players that have now Prashant Veer, Karthik, they've all been doing very well in the domestic leagues and the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy. I think that's becoming a bit of a trend. Initially, it used to be a bit of performance at the big level, one big six you've hit or one big over you had, and then you get recognition. I think sustained success in T20 leagues and the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy is making
But
teams.
again, I mean, again, surprise for me, and I'm sure it. I'm saying this again. We again don't see Sunrisers Hyderabad anywhere in the picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
No
mean,
idea
it's
what's out.
still the neck-to-neck fight between CSK and KKR. I mean, it was initially a ploy which one could have understood. They don't want to hire very big players at a higher cost. But now these players like Karthik Sharma, you've got Venkatesh Iyer, you've got Pathirana, you've got who else was there? I forgot his name. 14.2 crores. I mean, these are buys which Sunrisers Hyderabad could have targeted. Don't you think, Ilahi?
Of course,
Prashant Veer, sorry, my bad. Prashant Veer, I almost forgot his name.
and of course, I personally believe the way they started off with the auction was a bit dull. I mean, considering the fact how the management actually runs, and we have known the Orange Army for doing some wonders. And these decisions now, when you talk about the absurd thing, this is one of the most absurd things that has happened for me at the auction. Orange Army not really putting their best foot forward.
Yes.
And of course, you've got players like Pati Rana, you've got players like Prashant Veer. I mean, still, if you're not managing to, fill up your arsenal, I mean, I don't know when the right time is going to be then.
I mean, he's almost touching 12 crores now, and it's still CSK and KKR. I think CSK will go all out for him because I think they are in need of a player like Karthik. Don't you think, Samir?
Yeah, lower order hitter, of course, they need somebody, they need that kind of power lower down. So yes, I think
And
a better fit for CSK.
yeah, see, and we see Stephen Fleming, whispering in the eyes, in the ears. So I'm sure this is something which CSK has been eyeing for quite some time. So what do you think? Where do you think that this figure will land? We are already sitting at 12.4 crores for Karthik
I think,
Sharma.
yeah, this is beyond reasoning. I think to go back to what we were discussing about SRH, I think I'm looking at their roster and they have Heinrich Klaassen, Abhishek Sharma, Travis Head, Ishan Kishan, and this is we are basically talking about a player who comes at around 5, 6, 7, probably, and with you, they also have Nitish Kumar Reddy. So
Yeah.
probably there's a thought process that maybe we have enough batters. And if you with a lineup that has Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma, they can be allowed to think on those lines. So, but
Okay.
yeah,
And I think it's again like 13 crores. Ilahi, a price from you now for Karthik Sharma.
Well, when you asked me previously, I said somewhere around 7 to 8 crores, but now I feel this is going to touch 15 crores for sure. And of course, considering the fact why Sunrisers are not, bidding for him and CSK is aggressively doing it, because you need a lower order batsman. And we have seen it in the last season as well of the T20 league that CSK was struggling when it comes to lower order batting. And of course, this player can actually.
Oh, Sunrisers Hyderabad, while you are talking, has entered into the race. I mean, 13.6 crores, they are now driving up the price. Sitting with a purse of 25.2 crores. I mean, they haven't spent one single penny so far. They're now into race, but this has been the case earlier as well. What if they back out at the 11th hour? Sameen, what do you think? Will
I
Sunrisers
I think they heard
continue the bid?
what Shom was saying, and they figured they needed somebody at the fifth, sixth spot. And they're like,
Ah,
yes, let's get into the party. I think they've been
ah.
listening to us.
Did they
They're
hear
back in.
that, or did they hear the most absurd, moment is Sunrisers Hyderabad not buying? What did they hear?
I guess we will
No?
find out.
What,
Okay,
what
so
CSK
do you think?
bought them.
yes,
CSK have already bought them. Yeah, I mean, I
14.2
think,
crores, final price, sold to CSK. Now, Som, I'll start with you because you have been mastering awkward moments. For now, what do you think? Is this a right buy for CSK? 14.2 crores, Karthik Sharma.
right buy for CSK, but not the right price.
Okay, why?
That is, I think too much pressure on that guy. I mean, you see, Venkatesh Iyer last season was coming to the press conference every day and he was apologizing that I'm sorry that I know I've been bought for this much. I'm trying to repay it, but I'm not being able to do these things happen. Think of what pressure these guys will be under
No,
when
I
they
mean, that is not for the players to consider, I think so. I mean, to be fair to them, I mean, it is not them who's driving the price. It is the
yeah, but
franchisees and it's the
the,
fundamental market economics. So I think
the
from a player point of view, they should not be taking the pressure. But like Samreen said, eventually it does come to the player to perform. But
yeah, I mean, the price tag
slightly
matters.
it'll not balance because it's not the player's fault that they're
See,
driving
the thing is
the
that,
prices are going up.
if you look at the from the player's perspective, I'm sure Karthik Sharma wants to play for 10, 12 years. Now you can't just be paid 27 or 15 crore for one season and then go for 20, 30 lakh for the rest of the season. Or you might not be picked in, say, like 5 years down the line. You don't want that kind of a career for you yourself. You want a slow growth, right? Now this kind of drives up the anticipation, the hype, the expectation to such a level. If you don't perform to that level, you'd be let go just like that. And this is a brutal world. This is very, very brutal. Cricket in India is now cutthroat. Now people play only for IPL contracts. They don't play to get into the Indian team. Everyone, the aspiration is an IPL contract. Now, if that is the aspiration, and the first season you get 15 crore, I mean that is a lot of psychological baggage.
I think it
A
also
lot of
matters
psychological
the
baggage.
age, the fact that they're uncapped players plus their age. These are what, 19, 20,
Yeah,
22 year
19,
olds. Aiden Tom Apple, Mukul,
20.
Prashant Veer, Karthik, they're all
Basically
young.
college
Even Mukul
college
right
guys.
now he's 19, I think he's 19 or 20. And sure, if you make it, if you have a make or break season and you just make it in that season, you're remembered forever. You're considered iconic. But if not, if you're not able to justify that price tag with 2, 3, 4 performances, then you're forgotten and you're
It breaks your morale, according to you.
yeah, that's
So
true.
it's
You look
so
at what happened to Prithvi Shaw.
Yeah.
I mean, Prithvi Shaw, we can have a discussion separately, but because that was more out of ill discipline and lack of lackadaisical approach towards the
But
game as well.
super
It
potential,
wasn't
super
necessarily
potential.
due to the high price which he commanded. I mean, we can have a discussion or debate over that, so. But do you think this practice, like all three of you mentioned, this practice of raising the bar of money absurdly high is denting the prospect of young cricketers?
They should, I think this is my opinion, but I think there should be a cap for uncapped players.
Okay, okay, that's a fair
Cap
point.
of
Okay.
price. Right, 5 crore cap. That's it. You can't splurge more than 5 crore on an uncapped player. That's not happening.
Okay. Okay. You think there should be a cap of maybe 5 crores? I mean, we can, of course, discuss the number,
Yeah,
but there should be a cap. That's what you're
yeah,
saying. Okay.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Ilahi, you agree with him?
Well, I completely agree with Som for this because, of course, with uncapped players, while they have performed they have given their best during the domestic circuit and during the domestic leagues. Of course, this price tag comes with pressure, and when you are being into an auction, when you're part of the auction and you get sold for 15 crores. it's certainly in your head as well psychologically that you are going to be the part of the playing 11, and then the pressure starts building in that now you are a part of the playing 11, you have to perform, and in every match, and T20 we know is a fast paced game, more than skill at times luck also comes into favor, luck also
Correct.
comes into play, and of course the kind of practice that you had in the nets, of course it will help you conquer everything in the near future. But of course for uncapped players there needs to be a capping, and of course we were talking about CSK buying him for 14.2 crores. They needed somebody at the lower order to come and get the job done. But of course with this base price, and being sold to CSK, pricing is something that's bugging me a bit.
I think we've just come to know, yeah, it's there. Like Mukul Chaudhary sold to LSG for 2.6 crores. Base price was 30 lakhs. What do you think, Sameen?
Yeah, fair. I mean,
I
I
think,
kind of agree. I have found a middle ground in terms of like what uncapped players should go for, shouldn't go for. I mean, it's Indian Premier League, and eventually it matters that the unheralded talents come to the fore. But of course, I agree with Shoma and Ilahi about there being a cap. Maybe there could be differences about what kind of cap, but like I would always want to see an uncapped player thrive. The aftermath of it is not what I'm a fan of.
of course, I
Uh,
mean, we can
yeah,
discuss. We are only talking about the
yeah,
economics and its relation with
sure.
mental health of cricketers,
Right,
especially young cricketers.
right.
But this model, it's sheer capitalism. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not a player's fault, but
right.
eventually they have to bear the brunt. I understand that completely.
Sure.
Now, we're moving towards the end of this special broadcast. So I'll come to you, Som.
Yeah.
Apart from your special love for Sunrisers Hyderabad's approach today, what else was the highlight of the day for you when it comes to getting the best players or best teams? Which team you think use their money most sensibly, at least till 5:15 or 6 o'clock?
I think when we started this discussion, remember we were saying that it's a very slow moving bidding room. Bids are needed, but you look at the bids for the Indian players, the uncapped players, and now the mood has changed. Very fast bidding. So this is what the auctions. There are up and down moments. There are inconsistencies. For me, I think KKR, still went with a very good team. I think this is the way they got their players: Cameron Green, Pathirana, Finn Allen. These are the top three players, I would say, and they are now going for Tejasvi Singh Dahiya, who is another great striker of the ball. He's from Delhi. So the way they have got about their shopping, I think that's pretty smart, and also very, I think, smart is how Delhi played their cards. They were
Yes,
very
very calculative.
calculated. Yeah, very calculated. I think landing Nabi was very crucial because they need someone who has that kind of control. He has a lot of control on the ball. He knows what he's bowling. He doesn't have
And
the
I
pace.
think Delhi also needs Nabi's brand of cricket. I mean, the way he plays. I mean,
Yeah,
Delhi, I think,
yeah,
needs that overhaul in the
yeah.
specific department.
Right,
So
right.
you're right.
So,
Sameen, what do you think? Your highlight for the day, which team would you rate best so far as shopping is concerned?
I think I would agree with Som on KKR being pretty spot on. I think they had a plan. Maybe the bids were a bit more expensive, but they had the liberty to do that. They had the purse. We knew they would be the most active and the most gung-ho in the auction. And I think the players they ended up buying were pretty solid. I mean, again, Patirana a little bit overpriced, but other than that, I think the players that they wanted to go for, again, they picked up Tejasvi Dahiya as well. He was with the South Delhi Superstars and Delhi Premier League. A
I think he
wicket
just
keeper
got sold.
batter. Yes, he just did.
Okay.
Wicket keeper batter. A very
Okay. And
calm head
he
on
was
his
bought by whom?
shoulders.
My bad. Sorry, I was not able to
KKR.
see.
KKR.
KKR. Okay.
Calm head on his shoulders. I think they knew the resources that they need, the roles that they wanted to fill in. I think they've been doing a very good job if they were looking for an overhaul. I think KKR have done a good job.
They have done a good job. Elahi, what about
Well,
you?
according to me, I personally feel Kolkata pretty confident getting Cameron White and Pathirana in the camp. Excellent decisions. They, of course, when you have money in your pocket, why not spend it? And why not spend it on great players? And of course, they've done a great job. And of course, getting somebody like a Tejasvi Singh Dhaya into the picture, he's a wicket keeper, he's a batsman. He'll add on his flavors as well. But as far as Delhi is concerned, played very smart, played very safe as well in that way. Of course, when you get somebody like a Nabi in the gang, of course, we know the place from where he comes from, J&K, and we have seen one of those players from that place, that was Umran Malik. And of course, this player comes he's not hot-headed, he's steady. Of course, he doesn't have that amount of pace like Umran Malik had, but that consistency, that brilliant line and length, he's going to do a fair job for Delhi. So, of course, Kolkata on the first position, second is, of course, Delhi being so smart and safe.
Okay. Now, we'll close this broadcast with, of course, a special mention for Sunrisers Hyderabad. I mean, are they in the wrong market, Sameen? Do you think they came to shop for apples, but they are in the market of oranges?
I think they were way too cautious, but they know what they're missing out on. They're watching really good players go by, so I'm sure they must have a plan in place. Like Shom pointed out, maybe they're very sorted about their batting and only want to invest in maybe backups and a strong bowling lineup. I think that's what they will be going for. Maybe towards the fag end of the auction or in the accelerated auction, they will be more active. But otherwise, it makes no sense to keep watching these uncapped or these marquee players go away and just be okay about it. I think they
So
have a plan in
saying
place. They are very specific.
you're saying they're thinking like the Chinese. Okay. Shom?
Well, I think KKR is doing a fantastic job. They've landed Dahiya, and now they're going for Ashok Sharma. Now, Ashok Sharma is a very underrated player. He's I think KKR have done a remarkable job, but SRH, yeah, I agree with you. I don't understand their policy. If they are like that guy who thinks that I'll study in the last day, last night, midnight oil, and I'll come out with marks. I don't think that's happening here. There's a serious something has gone wrong. I think something has gone wrong. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to sit on that kind of purse and spend on nothing. At least do something. They have tried, but I think they have not been aggressive enough.
Sure. Som, I must let you know, you give perspectives like an academic, like taking a very academic point of view of the entire situation. Eli, closing remarks from you, and we'll end this.
Well, of course, with SRH, I have two perspectives actually. One is a very viewer-driven perspective, which is somebody who wants to watch the entire auction, and the moment the auction gets, done for the day, you want to switch it off and want to play gully cricket with your friends. So, of course, if you want to be driven by that particular approach, of course, viewers might be a little disheartened knowing that they were not aggressive, and that's what I felt personally. But then, as an analyst, I personally feel that there is something that they are brewing in their room, and this is something that they might reveal in the near future. Of course, they seem to be pretty sorted, and this is one of the major reasons why they were not handpicking one of few of the great players. And of course, this is one of the major reasons why they let them go. But as a viewer perspective, of course, the love for the cricket emerges like how a normal Indian cricket fan wants to watch cricket. Of course, pretty disappointed how Sunrisers Hyderabad took this auction. I don't know. It's very absurd. It's very obnoxious.
Yeah, it is. It is. And on that note, we hope that Sunrisers Hyderabad do have a secret ingredient which they would reveal towards the end of the auction. For now, it's thank you so much for joining us. Samreen, Som, Eli, thank you so much for joining us on this special broadcast. Stay tuned to Hindustan Times for more updates on IPL, on general news, on business news. See you soon. Bye-bye.